Cool.
There's no native always stay on top inside of Mac, is there? I don't see it.
I don't believe there is. No. Yeah.
That's the nice thing about Liz. Just right click, stay on top.
Yeah.
Seems like such a simple UI thing.
It does. Yeah. I mean, we got the new glass effects now, so if you've updated the OS, I mean, what more could you ask for? We're living like it's 2007, baby. Vista's new again. Oh, welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 418, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Tom.
Welcome
think about that.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk all things Homelab, server, gaming, anything that interests us in the week in tech. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. And if you'd like to support the channel, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server, where you can chat directly with myself, as well as all the other hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there. Today's episode is also brought to you by Meter. More on them later in the video. Check the link down in the video description. Welcome to the show.
Yes. Where do we begin?
Yeah.
There's always this like pre-thing that me and Jeff are doing, and I imagine this happens all the time. A little bit of ranting about stuff. Then you go, where did we left off? Because we had to press live because we had to save some for the audience.
Yeah, we had to press live. We were talking about the ubiquity thing.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom goes, apparently that's blowing up in some of the common channels that we're in. I'm like, I didn't even put the ubiquity thing in the notes. There's a couple of people who have gone off on that. Ubiquity is obviously selling hardware to Russia because Russia's using a bunch of Ubiquity Wi-Fi points to run their drones. And I went, yeah, Ubiquity is not selling directly to Russia. They're selling to a reseller, and the reseller is breaking embargo or breaking sanctions, which happens all the time. But it's not Ubiquity's fault. Ubiquity has no control once they ship their pallet of stuff off to a reseller. Do you know why Russia's buying a bunch of Ubiquity stuff? It's the same reason we buy a bunch of Ubiquity stuff. It's cheap affordable. And it's really good.
And the same reason we're not buying Russian stuff. And that's not a sanctions reason. They don't have any good Wi-Fi stuff.
Right, exactly.
So I'm sure it was put up with a harassment tool or something like that. Do we persecute them? I mean, I'm not saying that something shouldn't be done to stop the distributor from breaking the rules.
Totally.
But I don't know that we are going to victimize Ubiquity over it.
But laying this as Ubiquity's feet, as Ubiquity is the one at fault. No, that's just patently not true. So it's
silliness. Sometimes people like to make bigger stories about things.
Yep.
There is like a performance journalism thing going on here. Some people are so excited to be first to break a story. They don't care if they're right. They just want to be first to get those views and get that rush of likes. I don't know. You can sort those people out over time and figure out who you should follow or who you shouldn't follow.
There's a couple of schools of thought to that. Number one, being first does get you more clicks. I mean, that is absolutely a thing. But being first and then being terrible at it or doing a terrible job with it loses you people long term because they realize that you're full of crap when day 2 rolls around and there's 7 better articles than you just posted out about the same thing. There's also the gotcha journalism element of like let's do this huge breaking sweeping story. Let's fly a drone over EK Waterblock's headquarters and make like this huge long rant. I'm not naming any channels in particular. I'm just giving an example about like this insidious insider trading and shifting of money in businesses. It's like, do you not know how business works? There's also
a lot of context.
There's also journalists out there who may or may not have stock portfolio options with the companies that they happen to be covering, and they will intentionally put out a hit piece to drop the stock price to short it and then gain on the rebound. That happens too.
Yeah. I'm starting to think there's a chance here that creating a bunch of social media sites and basing it on human drama as part of the algorithm might not have been a great idea.
Might not have been our best move.
Not the best science experiment we've had.
This all went wrong when Harambe died.
We have all gone back to that pretty consistently. Some people blame 2020. I'm like, oh no, it's Harambe.
It started before.
That's the fork. That's the split, the singularity where it come apart, and we live in an alternate universe now.
The divergence of our timelines. Yep, I'm fully on board with 2016 is where it went off the rails.
Yeah. Do you know I need to adjust how I assess my net worth, because when I was looking at how many hard drives I have and the price of hard drives, I'm like, this plays into Tom's net worth all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to you a couple weeks ago. I've got like 3 terabytes of DDR5 ECC behind me. Do I need to alter my insurance policy for my house?
That's very, yes.
Because that's...
What I'm trying to remember, did I bring up the story of the missing server from FedEx?
I don't think you did.
Okay, I think that happened last week. I've done a lot of consulting lately, okay. And so, but this one in particular was an interesting one because the saga's not over. The shipping company, I don't even name them because I don't want to blame them, but I'm going to say that a delivery driver may have acquired a nice $30,000 Homelab server.
Oh, geez.
Well, they ordered 3 of them, and the project I'm working on is getting them out of Azure because they spend, I don't know, $20-something thousand a month in Azure, and it turns out you can buy a few $30,000 servers and run the workload, and they're actually learning the workloads faster to run it local. So nonetheless, that's what the project is. But they're a server short. They ordered them all in December, and they arrived in January, but -1. And so they said, where is it? It took some investigation because you don't just make a claim when there's a $30,000 piece of hardware missing.
Right.
They have a problem, though. The insurance company said they'll cover it for $30,000. What do you think that server costs now?
45, 50? Yeah.
Yep, 45. Yep. So it's kind of an interesting problem because insurance covers it for the value you paid for it.
Yeah.
But the value you paid for it is not expected to go up that much in a month. So now they got to figure out how to cover the difference. They're like, oh, we'll give you 30,000 back. You're like, okay, but we need the server.
About
and now
that.
The server's 25.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that insurance is going to come through. If it's business insurance, possibly. If it's shipping insurance, probably not, because you're insured for the value of the package, not the theoretical value once it arrives and appreciates due to market changes. Because
almost everything's based on depreciating values, especially on hardware. There's depreciation schedules for this stuff.
Right.
We suddenly are in upside down land where there's an appreciation schedule for our server hardware.
Yeah. What a weird time.
What a weird time. That's okay. That's okay. I am also excited because I have at least one customer interested in one of those new Nvidia servers that they make. They're about $400,000. The new GPU servers. Yeah, we sold them another. We sold them one before, and we're like, ooh, we get to do this again.
Nice. Vince from Circuit Rewind chimes in with a $20 super chat. So he's been going along with the HTML codes to go along with my episode number. So we're on 418 tonight. So error 418. I'm a little teapot.
I love that we're at the teapot one.
We're at the it's teapot episode.
Yes. Look that up, folks. The error 218 teapot. So that is real.
Vince says drinking a nice tea. I mean, hard cider tonight. Excellent. Good times. I am drinking from El Segundo Brewing, courtesy of friend of the channel, Aaron, who I had lunch with the other day. Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA, collaboration with Steve Austin himself. So 6.5%. El Segundo, California.
And it's stone cold.
Yeah, stone cold, yes.
I see someone ask about N8N. I think the popularity of N8N is going to mean we're going to find more vulnerabilities in it. I didn't look at the latest ones, but yeah, I mean, more people are poking at it, so there's going to be more problems found.
Yep.
Good news is it's not OSI model open source, but it's source code available, so people looking at the source means, hey, I'm going to be able to poke at this, and popularity is kind of a good thing, but it's certainly shedding some light. I did
Yeah.
that video on the Rust FS, and immediately someone found some bugs in that. I'm not saying my video had anything related to it. I did the video because other people were asking about what's a good S3 MinIO replacement for S3 storage. I checked out Rust FS. I said, this is pretty cool. And then whammo, 9 point something CVE. But they responded and fixed it. I mean, cool. They're like, whoops, that was an egregious mistake. But Rust, man, there's no security problems if you just rebuild it in Rust. The whole brigading they do. Just rebuild it in Rust. You won't have vulnerabilities anymore.
Yeah. Haven't they moved on to vibe coding yet? I mean, come on.
Yeah. The vibe coders.
They can do the work of 10 people on an airplane flying economy.
I didn't do it in the story. Sorry, made me laugh. But the between the vibe coders and the AI slopification of everything, we talked about that before. But we have an unlikely ally that I seen the headline. It didn't click it, but it just made me laugh. Apparently, the Pope is calling out AI slop, and I'm like, okay,
cool.
I didn't see that crossover coming, but sure, why not? Just. We'll take any allies we have on not seeing as much slop, because every time we go to LinkedIn, it's so disappointing to see. Just like I scroll and I'm like, this is so, I can't even unfollow because I have too many people and it would spend more time doing it. You know what would be a good use of AI? If I could find an AI that could recognize AI, that could go to my LinkedIn and unfollow everyone who posts AI slop. And that would be something.
Right?
That would be a thing. Then maybe LinkedIn will be slightly usable.
Yeah.
For the most part, I look at LinkedIn as a place I post. I read comments on things I post, but it's unusable outside of it. I have a few friends that have notifications. They don't post often, and I actually don't post slop. So I'm like, oh, look, my friend who I post something interesting has actually posted something.
Yeah. I'm still on Reddit quite a bit, and I'm mostly to take part in like some smaller communities or even some of the larger groups like our Homelab or some of the sporting teams that I follow and things like that. Like, just communities talking about the same topic in general. That's the things that I'm not on any of the default subs. I hate picks. I hate most of it. But the smaller communities are really cool.
Yes, very much so.
Until people get in there and start posting AI slop that's even tangentially related to the small community. Like years ago, I owned a geo tracker, Suzuki Sidekick. Still follow the subreddit.
Because those are awesome.
It's great. Yeah. I missed the hell out of that rig. It was so much fun. But I love seeing what people are doing with them now. Hey, doing upgrades, doing an engine swap, lifting it up, K-frame swap, whatever. Like a whole bunch of fun stuff. There was one post about a month ago that was just like, hey guys, what do you think about this build? And it was literally an AI image of a Chevy Tracker. And he goes, I'm thinking about putting these tires on it and doing this thing. None of it made any sense. None of what was in the image even closely resembled what he was thinking about doing. It's like, so just make a text post. Why did you burn a gallon of water to post an AI image when it didn't even represent what you wanted to ask?
Yeah, there's... The other thing I'm seeing, because similar with the motorcycle groups that I'm in, there's a lot of them that post it, and what they're doing is they actually do have some product to sell, but they don't actually have the product to fit the vehicle. Yeah. So they make a version of it that's AI slop, and motorcycles are hard to get right because you notice the spokes go through the wrong way and stuff like that. Those little fine details really seem to be hard for AI. The exhaust, sometimes it gets just weird things wrong, like the exhaust is on the wrong side for that model Honda. It doesn't go on that side, and no one re-engineered the engine to invert the exhaust to go on the other side.
There is no left-hand drive motorcycle, okay?
Yeah. So it really annoys me because it's painful. Now the good news is the general forums are still a thing. There's still the Honda actual, like someone, I don't know who runs them. I just joined them, and there's actual forums where there's real nerds in there, and bike nerds are the same as computer nerds, because computer nerds are going to argue about Linux distros or different games, but these people, oil is a religious experience, like which oil you choose for your motorcycle. You're wrong if you didn't choose the oil that I prefer. It is argued with the same amount of enthusiasm, and I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Let alone, I don't see nearly the temp changes that Detroit does. You don't see our summers, we don't see your winters. Like, it's who would have
Yeah.
thought that different oil for different climates? Yeah.
I do see we have a super chat for something I do like. I do like calling the prompt engineers slop operators.
Yes.
I'm not upset about that. That's that's not a bad term.
Green, thank you so much for the $5. Much appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And speaking of the 418 HTML, so on craftcomputing.store, my merch store, we do minimalist wallets, and I have a bunch of HTML codes on the wallets, and so actually 418 is one of them. So this is from Coffee and Cynicism over on the Discord. As soon as he realized, it's 418, that's the wallet I bought. So
Nice.
yeah, go grab yourself a wallet.
There is a wallet dedicated to episode 418.
There is, yeah. We have a whole bunch. It's amazing how often those error codes line up to thinking about spending money or Homelab related products. And so we have, obviously 404 money not found, but we have not available, not approved, unavailable due to legal reasons. I think that's 451. And there's dozens of them on there. So
Yep. Such fun.
yes. Let's see. Where do we start tonight? Let's see. What's in the news? Oh, you know what we can start with? This guy here. Guess what showed up today?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Fanciness.
And in fact, I have a nice big image to show you too. Final retail boards for OpenViro are here. So this weekend, I get to spend a lot of time flashing and testing and making sure that everything works. It should, because we've gone through all that testing before, but you never know until you get the final thing in hand if everything was soldered properly. Hopefully it was, because there's 700 of these and 1,200 of the sensor boards that all have to be assembled. So we can finally do final fit and finish and get these things shipped out. So update on that, hopefully coming very soon.
Nice little craft computing logo on there. Looks good.
Yeah. We got the Craft Computing logo. Down here, there's a little Enterprise D.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that okay? I thought that's why
Yep.
I thought I see there.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's cool.
there's a little Enterprise D. We were hoping
Way
to
bigger
shift.
on my other screen.
We were hoping to ship revision D, our 4th revision of the board. We ended up having to go revision E, but then we liked the look of the D so much that we just kept the D. So that's what's on there. There's one more secret on the board, but you're gonna have to X-ray it to find it. So
Ooh.
yeah.
So we gotta wait for Jeff Gearling to get a hold of it.
You got to wait for either Jeff Gearling or LTT to get a hold of it so they can put it in their machines. So, yeah, but there is a secret on the board.
Nice. Very nice. Quick Star Trek question here, because it seems quite controversial. How is the new, or are you watching the latest Star Trek release?
I haven't watched Academy yet.
Okay.
I am going to watch it. I have 3 kids and 2 businesses that I'm trying to run out of my house solo, so I don't have a lot of time. I get like 2 episodes of TV a week. And it's like, so I've got to pick and choose very carefully about when I'm going to sit down and actually like enjoy watching something. If it's on in the background, I catch 30% of it. I don't have that multitasking ability. I can listen to music, but I can't watch TV while I'm working. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'd miss too much. I focus if I'm going to watch something. I'm trying to decide, because I try to limit how much TV I watch in general, as well as I focus on a lot of other things. And I haven't decided if it's worthy, because boy, the reviews are bad. So but it's like, it's Star Trek and I want more sci-fi. And I'm like,
yeah. From what I've heard, I don't dislike the direction they're going, although I'll have to see when I get there. Yeah, right now I'm going through, I'm doing another watch through of Fallout Season 1, so I can watch Fallout Season 2 all in a single sitting. And then next on my list is Academy. So, but I wanted to get through Fallout first, because...
Yeah.
Is there going to be any code updates for the Axe Effect beta? I think right now the Wi-Fi units are going to be considered feature complete, and I haven't seen a reason that we need to update them. There's nothing that we added to the new ones outside of a second sensor and then the hardwire ability. So it's got PoE and Ethernet to connect through. So I don't think so. Maybe I'll talk to the dev and see if there's anything that we've added or quality of life feature, but I don't think so. That being said, we will hopefully be launching a retail Wi-Fi model sometime this year. So that's from Jason, $5. Thank you so much, Jason, for the question. And then Zeus for $2. Jeff's tariff offering finally arrived. Yes. Yeah.
Oh. I see people asking if you use GNU Telnet. There's been a big security vulnerability in that. That's why
the Telnet D vulnerability I saw. You can basically force root access on an open Telnet port right now. Yeah.
And why is Telnet open in 2026? I don't know.
That's my question.
It is though.
Yeah.
So it's not. I mean,
I know it's open, and I know people still use it because go look at your own firewall rules right now. I guarantee you have denied Telnet requests.
Oh yeah.
Just spoofing admin password, admin 12345, because it's all plain text communication, and so you can see the passwords and usernames that they're trying to feed into a Telnet port, just on the hopes that something responds to it. That still happens every day.
Yeah, wander over to Shodan, and it's disappointing sometimes. It's exciting other times because you're like, okay, there's so many things I can poke at.
Yep. My old job that I worked for, we had 4/24s and then a couple of 26s and whatnot, as far as like public space, public IPs. And I could go in real time and watch our firewall logs go denied Telnet, denied SSH, denied Telnet, denied SSH, denied HTTP, denied Telnet, denied. Just about one per second would just come in of a spoofed credential just poking holes.
We were doing some work indirectly for an adjacent body of the local university. Mm-hmm. And I was scanning their network to try to find a few things, and I scanned it externally, and it was like, whoa, for some reason, and it was on Telnet enabled stuff. It was their UPSs I had access to. And I knew some people directly at the university, so I messaged one of the IT people. I was like, hey, this IP address says this and this open. They're like, yeah, they're doing dumb. And I was like, can you fix it? And he goes, we were told just to give them blocks of IP. They do dumb. He goes, we're not allowed to touch their stuff.
Yeah.
He goes, we just hand off the stuff and we firewall all the infections they have that reflect back and attack us. I was just like, yeah, their infrastructure is kind of a mess. We tried bidding it, and we decided there was no amount of money we could do to fix it under the parameters they had given us, and we decided to walk away from the project. We're like, this is. And I actually said, I don't know why your UPSs have public IP addresses. At first, I thought they port forwards. It turned out, as closer examination, they had assigned public IP addresses to the UPSs for convenience. They had that many public IPs, which was also amazing.
Wow.
So they just so much management stuff was just done that, and they didn't understand how the rules work. So their UPS had you. And it's kind of funny. It was an old UPS, so I think you really got out of it with stats. You couldn't reset it or anything from there, but it's how you'd log in through Telnet and give you a bunch of statistic information. I'm like, this is novel. Maybe there's probably a way to exploit this. Yeah. But I don't know what you do with that information because it was just telemetry data about the UPS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We worked, I've mentioned it a bunch of times, we've worked with everyone from, hospitals and K-12s and universities and public and private businesses and things like that. Hospitals and schools, because of their administrative systems, for a long time had to have printers on public IPs, because you don't actually download the document to print. What you do is you send a request to your accounting server or your database to print a document, it is then approved and sent directly from the web server to your printer. Not through your firewall, but through an open hole in your firewall to an open printer. That was a requirement for a lot of these accounting and administrative systems. Was the print request cannot come from the local client. It has to be approved by the web server.
I see someone asking this question, and for me, currently, no, I do not have my own ASN for IPs. I just don't need it. I need exactly. Well, I could use one, but I've decided I've used 2 public IP addresses. One runs my forums and one runs my website. So I just lack any need for an ASN. I don't do hosting.
Yeah.
So, and I imagine you just get stuff from the data centers because you don't need a large block of IPs for what you do either, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I do very little hosting. You know, I do a lot of Homelab stuff, but rarely anything that needs to be accessed from outside the network. And even if it does, I VPN into my network. Like I don't need the holes in my firewall. I don't need these services to be publicly accessible, so I can access them from my cell phone. It's just not something that I need.
VPN is the way. I wish more people VPN, whether you're using an overlay VPN or they're VPN on your router or a plethora of other ideas around that.
Yep.
And of course, someone will comment, you must be using WireGuard.
You son of a bitch. Yeah, I posted a VPN video earlier this week about how I use a VPN here in my house. And the main reason I use it is to be able to watch sports outside of my local region, because the Trailblazers have blackout rules, and so if they don't sell at the stadium, you can't watch on local TV. And I happen to live in the local area, so it's like, oh, if the Blazers suck this year, I can't watch any games at all. But you can sign up for NBA League Pass in like Latvia for $30, and then they're never blacked out. And so, hey, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to watch basketball, and apparently I'm in Eastern Europe somewhere.
Yeah.
And I can do it from my Roku, from my smart TV, because I don't use an app to connect to the VPN. I have a VPN gateway on my network that I feed my devices into, so the device is none the wiser, and it handles all the VPN stuff for me. So I did this tutorial on how I use a VPN and why I use a VPN, and every other comment is, I can't believe you didn't use WireGuard. And it's like, this wasn't a WireGuard tutorial. I don't know what made you think it would be. I didn't say WireGuard once. I didn't say Ventoy either, but probably that's...
There's always Ventoy. You didn't mention Ventoy. You got to say at least one each video now.
JC says, I grew up in Portland. Clyde Drexler for the win. Yes. Yeah. No, I have the full set of Dairy Queen glasses if you want to flex. Like, yeah. Anyway, I think we should get to the news.
Yes.
Right after I give you this word from our sponsor, which I should probably pull up the notes so I can actually read it to you all, because I forgot to do that. Today's video. What the heck happened there?
That's not the sponsor view.
Why? What? It's my sponsor slide. What in the heck? Why is the video not playing? Why is the... Okay, we're gonna have to fix this live. Hooray. Okay, so there's that. Okay, cool. So we got that. I guess we'll just do it without my face then. Now I have to read it without laughing. While I enjoy building out my Homelab and have spent nearly 20 years in professional IT, not every business has a Jeff working for them. And managing your network infrastructure without a Jeff or a Tom can be challenging. Dealing with different vendors for firewalls, switching, Wi-Fi, and then when something goes wrong, it can grind your business to a halt. That's where Meter comes in. Meter delivers an all-in-one networking stack that bundles everything you need into a single package, including high-speed wired and wireless networking, power delivery, firewall and routing, and even cellular, all in a single integrated solution that's built for performance and scalability. Meter handles everything from network design, procurement, installation, and will even negotiate with ISPs to get you the best rates on internet connectivity. All of that shows up in a single cloud-based dashboard, giving you clear visibility into every layer of your network. You get the connectivity your business needs, all for a predictable monthly cost. Best of all, there's no upfront expenses. Meter ships the hardware you need today and will automatically upgrade your hardware as time goes on, ensuring your users and your business always have the tools and connectivity they need. Whether you're starting a new business, expanding to new locations, or simply modernizing an aging network, let Meter take care of the hassle for you. Visit meter.com/craftcomputing to book a demo today. Again, that's meter.com/craftcomputing. And again, a huge thanks to Meter for sponsoring today's episode. Link is down in the video description. Book a demo.
There we go.
There we go. I have no idea why our faces are not where they should be. Because they were there. In fact, hold on.
It was working, and then it's not.
Hey, there we go. Okay. Should I do it again now that I fixed it? There we go. I don't know what...
Will they pay us twice? Or do they pay you twice?
That'd be
this
great.
Is your channel.
That'd be great.
I don't think it
that's
works
where
like
Meter
that.
comes in. Meter handles everything.
Yes. We need a Meter for streaming, because it will fix our silliness when we stream.
Does Meter handle my OBS templates for me? Thank you, Meter. Much appreciated. All right.
Which news story do we start with?
I think
I know the one I added. I'll rant about. So
yeah, I think we'll push that one maybe till like 7 o'clock because I think that's going to be a good rant. And I
have a lot to say.
Yeah. This one caught my eye as someone who reviews a lot of handhelds, and has worked with basically every major manufacturer in the gaming handheld space. So GPD, Gamepad Digital, they were one of the original players to the market with the GPD Win 1. This was all the way back in 2016, I want to say. They've been doing gaming handhelds. So
they were early in that game.
Yeah, they're early in this game. You know, they were one of the ones that really helped jumpstart the handheld market that we know today. They've done a lot of really cool things. They've also done some things that have raised a lot of eyebrows, specifically with like industry partners and software and hardware vendors and things like that. It was, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, they announced that they were going to be shipping one of their handhelds with SteamOS. And they said specifically SteamOS. And this was 2 years before Valve announced that SteamOS would be open to hardware partners. In fact, I was at the launch event with Lenovo when they announced that last year at CES. So, like, but 2 years before that, GPD's like, yeah, we're going to install SteamOS on every handheld that leaves the shop. And they're like, Valve was like, we haven't worked with them. We have no idea what they're doing. Well, it turns out they were going to start shipping it with Holo ISO, which was a community project, which was also news to Holo ISO, who said, this is news to us that we've never heard of this before. And then the whole project got canned and it kind of fell by the wayside as like all these like details started unraveling. But it's like they publicly announced we're going to ship with SteamOS, and no one who worked with SteamOS was privy to that. They've done a couple other things recently as well. They've shipped some hardware and then like immediately pulled support from it. Most recently with the GPD Duo, which was actually a laptop I was very interested in. It is a Ryzen AI 370 powered laptop with dual folding OLED screens on it. Really beautiful device. It's only been out 6 months. They have since canceled that device. They're no longer shipping updates for it. They're no longer writing BIOS updates for it. And there's like 3 CVEs for that device that will never be patched.
Huh.
Yeah. That's not what we're talking about today, though. We're talking about
The latest incident.
SteamOS 2 Electric Boogaloo, in which GPD came out a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, we're going to start shipping the GPD Win 5 with Bazzite. To which Bazzite said, what?
It's Steam all over again.
Yeah. So here's the Tech Power Up article that's from this morning, but Bazzite actually issued a public statement yesterday. So this is from Kyle, one of the lead developers for Bazzite. Recently, GPD made a statement about the official adaptation of Bazzite happening for the GPD Win 5, and that we have received hardware from them. So they also said, Bazzite's partnering with us. They're going to be building up drivers and supporting all this and things like that. Like, that was part of their announcement. And that's really cool. I wish Bazzite got more mainstream support, and this is a huge step in the right direction. Kyle says, I want to make clear that not only have we not received hardware from them, we have no recent contact with GPD of any kind. A GPD representative appears to be directing their users to a Discord server other than our own for support as well. The Bazzite team will never ask you to go to a Discord server other than our own for support. Please exercise caution whether working on whatever they're working on is entirely unofficial and out of our control and will not be supported by us in any way. We ask GPD to cease using Bazzite names, logos, or other intellectual property until this matter is resolved.
If you say it, it'll happen. You just have to manifest it into existence. Apparently, that's the theory working over at GPD.
Right.
If we just state it, someone will make it happen, right? We don't have to actually do the work.
But even going so far as to say we've shipped samples of the GPD Win 5 over to Bazzite, and they are actively working on full-on hardware support and official support, and it will be officially supported by Bazzite and GPD. And Bazzite said, what?
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Look, I bought I have a GPD Win 1, donated actually to the channel by Green, Protagonist, who dropped a super chat earlier, longtime supporter of the channel, and he gave me his old one because I'm such a hardware handheld enthusiast. I bought a GPD Win 2. I bought a GPD Win 3. I own a GPD Win Max 2. In fact, it was my daily driver for 2 years. Like, I've owned a number of GPD devices. Today, I don't know that I can recommend you go buy a GPD device because once is like, oops, we made a mistake. Like 2-3 times that this has happened, we've made official announcements, proclamations that we will have full support of a full community and developer team and everything else. And then that turns out to be just straight up bullshit.
It's a pattern of behavior at this point.
It's a pattern of behavior. Yeah. I've met the people from GPD. They're very nice people. I've had some decent conversations with them. They've never sampled me, so I don't even have like a working relationship with them. I've just met them at a couple of conferences I've been to, and obviously I've bought a number of devices from them, but man, this is not a good look.
I wonder, let's get speculative here because I have an idea.
Sure.
I am wondering if there's someone who kept telling their boss that this was happening and they just never really did it.
And it just
finally, like the lie got out of control and you're like, no, we're shipping. We've got this whole thing. Like there's somewhere where this is snowballed. Like I want to know where that is because it can't be all the way at the top. I feel it's not there. I feel there's some middle manager who has decided that this is like their initiative and they're going, oh crap, I took vacations. I never did any of the thing I claimed I was going to do in that meeting. I'm just going to say I did it because then it'll happen. I don't know. Like, I want to know the replay on this, like the inside scoop.
Some intern in the corner of the boardroom going, oh yeah, no, we totally shipped out those devices. No, they said they received them and they're working on them right now.
Yeah. AI slop. I mean, do they just have an AI marketing manager that hallucinates getting their work done?
I've met their marketing manager. Really nice guy. Like, but just so weird that not only has this happened, it's happened again.
Yeah. It's such a weird disconnect. Like someone said, like an episode of Silicon Valley. Yeah, could be.
Yep.
Gavin Belson said we're doing it, so it's happening.
Right. When do we get the GPD signature edition? That's what I want to know.
I want the signature edition.
Mm-hmm.
I still have we 3D printed the signature.
Yeah.
It's been on my rack for a while. Every now and then people notice, is that what I think it is on your rack? I'm like, yeah, it is the signature edition.
Right.
They have to look that up to understand the joke.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I actually just ordered because we finally have all of our parts for OpenViro in. I need to start 3D print farming, and so I bought a third 3D printer, and this time I bought a full AMS kit for it as well. And so I'm gonna have 3 Bamboo Labs P1Ss behind me on the desk, one of them with an AMS. But that means I can start doing multicolor things like Galvin Belson's signature edition stuff. So,
the heater went out in my Tesla, so I had to take it in.
mm-hmm.
And I had a Silicon Valley moment because you take it in, you drop it off, and they couldn't give me a clear answer. But when I got there, they did have a loaner. They're like, you may or may not have a loaner. It's the only thing they would answer until I got there, which I don't know why this seems like something you could tell me. Like it's just a binary answer. Is there a car? Or
you
do
either
I
have one that with a key to give me, or you don't.
Right. Or you do not. And I don't care what model I get. I just need to drive.
Right.
And but I was excited because they gave me the Model X that's got the doors that go like this.
Oh yeah.
So I immediately made the joke with my wife. I now have a car with doors that go like this. I love that scene. Are these the doors of a billionaire? That is truly, of all the scenes, one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah.
Actually, he's really funny in person. My friends over at the Ninja One, the RMM company, thought he would be hysterical in Cameo to have him on a video, so they did.
Nice.
And he turned it up to 11. He made it great.
That's amazing.
I was like, oh, and all of us, because that was at the time the season finale had just done, and anyone who worked in tech had watched Silicon Valley, and we loved him, and the Trace Vodka guy, and I forget what he had done for them, but it's the same level of him.
So yeah, your heater went out in your car, huh?
Yeah, that's an interesting problem. It turns out it is a issue that does come up quite a bit in these Model 3s, at least based on some Googling. It's not crazy expensive. It's actually it's not that much more expensive to replace than it is on a normal car.
Right.
Actually, it's a little less compared to my dad's Blazer. I remember when his Blazer went out, they're like, yeah, we got to pull part of the motor. It's in the way.
Yeah.
And so everything is in the way on those. The Tesla's not much in the way. It's just part expense. It's not a high labor cost. It's just an expensive part. So it wasn't too bad. I think it was like right around $1,100 to replace it. Parts and labor.
Not awful. No, I've only had to do one heater core ever, and that was I had a 91 Mazda 626, and that was a fun car, but the heater core went out on it, and we're like entering December, and it was one of the worst winters that we've ever had here. We got 2.5 feet of snow and 3 inches of ice on top of that. It was nuts. It's like, yeah, I kind of need heat in the car. I think that was $1,200 in 2003.
Yeah. It's been forever. I mean, those S10s are cool. My dad had the S10 Blazer, and I was like, we were flabbergasted at what it was still all labor. They're like, the part's cheap. Mm-hmm. Here's your heater core for $69. But by the way, we have to take the car apart.
Yeah, it was literally remove transmission from engine, pull engine, remove half of the dash as well. So it was literally like unfold the car, all the layers of the onion to get to the heater core that's attached to the firewall. The one mod I think I'm going to make to because I'm a new EV convert. I've got the Chevy Bolt now. There's a company out there that makes a conversion kit to add a diesel hydronic heater to the Chevy Bolt. And so my Chevy Bolt's going to roll coal. Which will be fun.
That's kind of cool.
But because all that's in the Bolt is a 7,500 watt resistive heater. There's no heat pump or anything like that, and so if you need to turn the heat on, your mileage gets cut in half.
Yeah.
And we've been below freezing here for the last 3 weeks. I'm getting like 1.6 miles to the kilowatt hour where I normally get 4. It's rough. But you can add the diesel heater to that in line with the element heater. And so you can leave them both in there, because all you're doing is heating the water in the loop and circulating that through. And so if you just add something in line, just don't turn on your resistive element, turn on the diesel heater, which draws 200 watts instead of 7,500, and you get all your range back. I'm also toying with the idea of looking into what are the values, the temperature ranges that the batteries like to be at. Because the battery is a separate cooling loop, but it's the same coolant type. Could I put a manifold in there where I could use the diesel heater to warm the batteries to get summertime range in the winter, while also heating the car? So I think I'm going to do some mods to the Chevy over this next year, and then next winter be able to try them all out and go, could I get 4 miles the kilowatt in the dead of winter? Like, that might be a fun experiment to try.
Yeah. See, my Tesla's the 2019, so it's prior to, and I think, and I'm not positive, I think the newer Model 3s have heat pumps. I know some of the other like Model Ys do, but I'm mixed on. I'm a little confused on whether or not the Model 3, someone who has paid more attention to those details.
Yeah, I think the Model 3 was resistive. The Bolt is also resistive. Most EVs have a heat pump simply because they're way more efficient, but they're also a lot more expensive. And so even like the Nissan Leaf has a heat pump and things like that. But that's why that car costs $5,000 more. Right. So
yeah, I looked at the Nissan Leaf. I loved, because I was looking, this is back in 2019 when I bought my Tesla. The early model, I guess it would have been first gen Leaf. Yeah. I like that everyone called the battery meter the guessometer.
Yeah.
So they're like, you have no idea how much the range is on this thing. Turn the heat on, no range at all.
Yeah.
You know, you think you going uphill a little bit, you're going to lose a lot of miles. It's all a guessometer.
Yep. Rhett actually drove a first gen Leaf for a couple of years. He bought one for like, I think $3,000 or $3,500, and from the factory, brand new in 2012, they got like an 80-mile range. This was 2022, so 10 years later, and I think he was dealing with about 40 miles of range or 30 in the winter, and he was commuting to my house and back at 12 miles one way. And so if he has to get coffee, he's pushing his range to 90%.
Yeah, the Tesla does have a battery heater, but it is a separate unit. It's not part of the same system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not really needed unless you're charging. So the batteries only heat up when you're charging. You don't, like, I get this little notice that the batteries are cold, because I was glancing, because my clock says, or heat notice is -2 right now here in Detroit. So yeah, it is really cold outside. So the batteries give this little, they give the snow icon, essentially a little freezing icon, to say it's cold. The only thing that really affects is it will not take off as fast. Like the 0 to 60 time on my car is like 3.5 seconds. So it's got the performance boost on it. Yeah. It's more like 6 or 7 seconds 0 to 60 when it's cold, maybe even 8. I don't know.
Yeah.
It takes off, but peters off pretty quick. But that fixes itself really quickly if you take it for a drive.
Yeah. 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 Drawing current out of them does warm the battery up. So if you punch it a couple of times, they're back to where they should be.
Yeah. It warms up enough and the heat thing goes away. And it's not been that bad for driving in winter. When I used to drive more, it was fine, but now it's overkill. I drive so little now.
Yeah.
Like it's just in the garage most of the time. We have 2 vehicles. We barely put any miles on them. Me and my wife both work from home.
Yep.
So, and the grocery store is really close. So we do those. That's mostly where it goes.
Yeah. I've had the Bolt for 7 months now, I want to say. I think I bought it in June or July. I've put 3,500 miles on it. Like,
yeah,
I don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Those little diesel heaters are cool though. They're they're definitely pretty neat.
Yep. I've got a diesel heater out in my garage, and we also have one in our travel trailer, and they work excellent. Like the one in the garage, I can turn that on, and my garage is 940 square feet or something like that, and I can warm it up a solid 10 degrees in about an hour and a half. And you know, when it's 30 in the garage, it makes it livable, so I can go out and cut merch and things like that. You know, it does just what it needs to do. In the travel trailer, I turned it on for 6 minutes and it bakes us out.
Yes.
But the kit that I'm looking at for the Bolt is a hydronic heater, so it's a heat exchanger, and so it warms the water in your coolant loop in line with the rest of your heater system. And the Bolt has 3 different loops on it. There's a cooling loop for the charger. There are charger and motors. There's one specifically for the battery, and then there's one for cabin heat.
Okay.
And so I could put the hydronic heater on there, plug it into the cabin heat, and heat the car. 200 watts, done. And save all that energy. But like I said, I've thought about putting that heater in line with the batteries to see would that also warm the batteries up enough to make it eke more range out of it in the dead of winter. Like, we're currently 50 degrees here, which is the warmest we've been in 3 weeks. We've been having highs of like 38 and then lows of 25, 22. So we've been like flirting either side of the freezing point. But the clouds rolled in, so we've got a little insulation now.
Yeah. When I said -2, I'm talking in freedom units.
Oh,
here,
yeah.
Man.
I know where you're at right now. Trust me.
Yeah. We are really cold here. I was letting the audience know because me and Jeff are both talking freedom units here.
Yes. So. Yeah. Which is funny because my phone's in Celsius. And I always just do the conversion in my head. So I go, oh yeah, 12. Okay, it's about 52 degrees outside right now. Cool.
Yeah, 50 in Celsius would be a serious problem.
Mm-hmm. I've experienced that too, and that's not fun.
That's not fun. Death Valley.
Yeah. Actually, we experienced that here in Oregon a couple.
Oh, that's
of
right.
years
You guys
ago.
had a heat wave.
Yeah. We hit the highest recorded temperature ever in the state of Oregon was 111 degrees, recorded in like 1960, 62, something like that. And then we've hit like 109 a number of times over the last 20 or 30 years. In 2022, maybe 21, we hit 119 for 3 days in a row. We broke the record by 8 degrees 3 days in a row.
That's so much.
My wife's brother, had a wedding that weekend outdoors, and I got to do the video for it. And so I'm out there in 120 degree weather with my MacBook and a couple of cameras. I turned both the cameras on. I started the live stream. The MacBook performed admirably. Like, it did really well.
Yeah.
The first camera crapped itself after 6 minutes. It's like, I'm not built for this, and just went out.
Man. Almost out of my tea. Then I'll switch to whiskey. I had a little bit of a cough today, man. It's been just that little bit.
Yeah.
I was sick for a little while, so it worked out good because I ended up after that Talking Heads the next day. I started not feeling great. By Friday, I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
and just and it just didn't. It's taken a few days to stop the coughing from clearing up, man. Whatever's going around, it's rough. Everyone got it. So
yeah, no, it's been cycling through our house too over here, and my youngest, he's 4. Just snot dripping down his face constantly. It's like, okay, yeah. So.
Should we talk about Newegg?
Yeah. Let's talk about Newegg. In fact, I already pulled that up. So, Newegg stock price at a multi-year low, dropped 17.5%. I don't recommend investing. This is not investment advice, but the stock price is down 17.5% because the CEO was arrested on Chinese corruption charges.
Yeah. And my understanding is they seem to take that serious over there, or at least I don't know their system very well, but they seem serious about corruption.
Yes, very much so. China and Korea seem to be the two that always... Oh, maybe that's what... Oh, that's what happened. Okay, cool. This slide was off too, and our portraits were skewed to one side. I just figured out, one of my elements got shifted. Okay, so that's probably what happened on the other one too. Cool. That problem solved. Anyway. Yeah, China and Korea tend to take corruption, bribes, corporate, uh, you know, the stuff that you get a pardon for here in the States, and some random trophies will definitely land you in jail over in China and Korea. If you remember, a couple of years ago, Samsung's CEO was arrested on corruption charges and ended up
Yeah.
serving a couple of years. But Newegg's official statement is that they are aware of the arrest, and as far as they're aware, are conducting their business in accordance with the laws, um, and have no further statement on the issue. But there's been talks for even rumors making it all the way over here that Newegg's doing some shady business practices and stock manipulation and things like that. And apparently that might be true.
Yeah, there was some speculation I found, and it was in a stock Reddit talking about that. And I don't know. Random Redditors, some collection of name and numbers. I don't know how true any of this is, and but nonetheless, it could, if they're taking it serious, if this is actually a serious thing that was done. I think that's relevant. I also feel like someone said, like, when's the last time you shopped at Newegg? It has been a while since I bought anything from Newegg.
Yeah.
Years ago, when I had my retail computer store, I loved Newegg. They were great. They fell off a cliff, though. I don't know, somewhere years later, where I remember I'd search for stuff and they would start blending in all these other locations, not just their own. And I always had to check a filter to say, only show me stuff that's yours.
Yep.
And that's when we quit using them. They just kind of became worse and worse.
Yep.
And then from a pricing standpoint, because we moved to we had signed up both for Newegg and Newegg Business. The Newegg Business was consistently more money for the same item.
I noticed
it was kind of like
thing.
I felt like I was like, why am they would always encourage Tom, you spent $50,000 with us last month, you should do this, because we were moving a lot of parts through them. And we go to the business one, I'm like, this is more money. What is the advantage I'm seeing here?
Why would I spend 7 to 10% more for what benefit?
Yeah, and I didn't really get it. So it's kind of like I wandered away from them and moved to different suppliers for things. Oddly, we used to get a ton of stuff. There was a supplier that came with Lenovo's warranty that we used to buy a bunch of Lenovo stuff from on Amazon. And everyone's like, you're buying it from a shady supplier. I'm like, what do you mean shady? It comes with Lenovo on-site warranty. It is the Lenovo dealer who we were talking to. He does not understand it. He could not sell me the stuff for what I could buy it for on Amazon. And I said, look, dude, I need all these laptops. These are the business T-series models. I'm buying them from this person on Amazon who keeps selling to me with the Lenovo warranty. And we even had one break, mine, and it was something stupid that happened to it, but the Lenovo dealer showed up. Like, they sent a person through Lenovo Care to come out and fix it. I don't know how that company existed for a while, but we were killing it on laptops for a little while, buying it from this Amazon person. I'm like, it's warranted by Lenovo. What do I?
There you go. Yeah.
People are like, well, they probably ship shady software. I'm like, I format these things immediately upon receipt. They all get reloaded because they got Lenovo crap. I don't want any crap on them. I want them clean and they're going to clients.
Yeah. No. I spent years in procurement. I had multi-million-dollar budgets, and every device that ever rolled through, we had an imaging process that went through. We had a driver onboarding process to support new models of devices. And it was my job to establish the images, and then some poor tech's job to actually apply the images. The common phrase in the office was, I would walk in and I would shout, "I hate new image day," because it was a day that we got new hardware that was brand new drivers, brand new issues, brand new little esoterica of solving the issue to make 3,000 of these work in bulk. And it was my job to make sure everything worked. So
it's gotten a lot easier if you get a really good image deployment server. We used to use a tool called EmiBot. So it would set up on a per customer basis. EmiBot is a really interesting, it's not open source. It's actually I'm friends with the guy that owns the company, Darren. But it's an interesting tool to you build for customers. You set up an MeBot script, and it's like chocolatey and some of the other ones, but it's very business oriented.
Yeah.
And it has a couple neat tricks that I don't think I've seen many other tools that can do this. And they've been doing this for a while. They kind of reverse engineered 80 joining. So because MeBot runs as a service, so I can in my office join something without a VPN. I'm not connected to network at all. It can grab the information, it can build it so it automatically is joined when they do take it back to their office. It takes over that step as part of the deployment. It is so you'd have to meet Darren, understand like, how did you do that? I mean, you talk to him. You ever listen to podcasts at 2x? That's what it's like talking to him. So he's he I remember he gave a presentation. He's really good at coding, and he gave a presentation.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever watched anyone code a presentation live in real time. Like, he did not set up slides for this. He started writing code, incorporated our names as part of a joke, as part of the variables while he was doing it. And people were asking questions. He's answering questions and still coding stuff and showing how to build this at this code demo. And I'm just like, yeah, he's kind of intense.
Yeah.
But he does talk at 2x, which makes me, it's just something I laugh at. He's really, it's like, calm down, buddy. His staff is really cool and things like that, but he definitely is, he's kind of intense. But they did some clever things. He reverse engineers installers. That's how his MeBot started.
Okay.
And he just kept growing it. Just clever. He just started reverse engineering them. He goes, I shouldn't have to install things. I should be able to just have my one tool do this. He built it for his company, and it was like, you should probably turn it into a product because you've done a lot of work in it. He goes, you think so? And it's turned into a big product.
Yeah. See, we used PDQ deploy from Admin Arsenal mostly for once the image was done, we would then flash it with whatever software needed to be applied and AD join and things like that. And so I would basically grab a laptop, get the driver repository for the laptop, which is usually just going to the driver store folder inside of Windows, downloading that, and then adding it to our driver store. And then figuring out a way for Windows to uniquely identify this laptop to apply that driver stack. And so whether it's a BIOS version, whether it's because we used WinInit commands to figure out what hardware you're working with and which drivers to apply. And I would write a script that goes, oh, if this, then that. Cool. It's obviously a Lenovo X1 Carbon Gen 5. Now here's the drivers that go onto this Windows image. And then once the Windows image booted, we would then apply whatever the client was, their software stack. And we had PDQ deploy for doing all of that kind of stuff. And so we would go, oh, this is going to, client Y. Here's client Y's payload. Boop, done. And off it goes. But getting all of that to work seamlessly and one click and being able to train any tech who walked in the room how to do it, it's challenging.
Yeah. In here in 2026, I seen someone mention it's Intune plus Autopilot. You get good at that, and that's probably the really popular tooling for getting that done right now. Times have changed. I seen someone say, I miss Fry Electronics. We never had those over on my side of the world, but they were closer to Jeff.
Yeah,
West Coast
we had one Fry's Electronics. Unfortunately, what's funny is every Fry's Electronics had a theme. And so, like, one of them was a jungle, and one of them was outer space, and one of them was, like, deep in the Amazon. Ours had TBD next to the theme. Ours was warehouse theme. Ours was Costco. And so the Fry's in Wilsonville, Oregon was a good store. I went there all the time, but it didn't have a theme, and I always felt gypped on that. But yeah, that property's still available. Micro Center. That property's still vacant 4 years later. Just saying. Incredible Universe. Yeah. No, I knew it when it was Incredible Universe. When Fry's landed in Wilsonville, I lived down in the Eugene area in Oregon, and so it was 90 miles up to go to Fry's, and it was Incredible Universe at the time. And I remember going to the grand opening and like, oh my god, they've got everything here. And the coolest thing I saw at the grand opening was I want to say a Pentium 4. Gosh, what was the it was the Pentium 4M, but it was the super low volt model, like the 900 megahertz model. It was a Sony Vaio with it was like a 7-inch ultra wide display, netbook style, with like a flipping camera, so you could do away from you or towards you as a webcam. But it was like a 1280 by 640 resolution or something. Like, your vertical resolution was like this. Like, it was pathetic. Yeah, but that's one of the first devices that I ever remember seeing at Fry's, was that weird old super long boy Vaio.
The CompUSA brings back memories for me too. We had one of those here. I bought some of their final inventory. I had my printers when I had my when did they go out of business? Right around probably 2005 here.
Yeah.
That's when I was opening my retail store, and I bought my printers from there for the retail store on clearance. Nice. So
we didn't have a CompUSA. We did have a Future Shop in Oregon. And then we did have a Software Etc. I don't know if you remember them. We also had an Egbert Software.
Because wasn't Software Etc. Didn't they all kind of consolidate with Babbage's and all those other ones?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we had a Software Etc. here. And I bought so many games, so many PC games from that place. I bought the original Thief from Software Etc. Redneck Rampage, Descent 2.
Oh, that brings back a memory.
Yeah, like I bought all those big boxes from Software Etc. Down in Eugene. And then we had an Egbert Software as well, or Egghead Software, excuse me.
Egghead, okay.
Egghead, Egghead Software. And one of the things I remember buying from there was one of the Borland guides of learn to program C++ in 21 days. I had the giant yellow book. Still nice. Can't program C. I bought that book when I was like 10 or 12 years old, and I went through the entire thing, and I realized very quickly I will never be a programmer. None of this makes sense to me. I don't think that way. My brain doesn't work that way. I don't have the right type of tism for programming.
Yeah, it's the wrong one.
I have the remember every hardware spec of every PC you've ever worked on ever kind of tism. I don't have the programming tism.
I miss it. I had it. I just don't do it because I don't have anything I want to make. Yeah. So I've lost a lot of it. I used to even regex and all that stuff and writings, basic things, but if it's all kind of fallen on my head, so I don't do that enough anymore. I've thought about going back to it. I thought about taking like a Python course or something just to beat it in my head again and do something, but I don't know.
I know enough Python to be able to like read it and understand what a program is trying to do, but I'm a script kiddie at heart. Like I am very much a like
most of my stuff's always in Bash. I just need to get this thing done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm a start at the top. We go step 1, step 2, step 3 into program. That's all I'm trying to accomplish. That's all I ever
need. There's no loops.
There's no loops. There's no if thens. There's no while statements. There's no weird things. That's. I'm just not a programmer.
Oh man.
Let's see. What's next? Other than I just finished my beer.
Oh. Is it beer time?
I think it's beer time. How's your tea doing?
I am at the end of it.
Ooh, I like the sriracha mug.
I love the kickin' chicken. So
that's great.
This has been my favorite tea mug for a long time. I've had it for years. You know what I like? Is we got a green handle and we're green on the inside.
Oh, that's baller.
It's the details.
Oh, I
the
love that.
It's because it's not like we just took a white cup and stuck this on there. We've got the logo. We got the.
It's the right color red, the right color green, the right white logo poking through. Oh, that's great.
I have no idea even where this came from. It's a member of the Sriracha to Go family. and that's all it says. I don't. I can't. I think I can't remember if my wife or one of my employees got this for me. So had it for a while, a number of years.
So I am opening again from Aaron, a good friend of the channel. This is from BJ's Brewhouse and Beer Club in Temple, Texas. This is the BJ's Rice Lager. 4.5%. Almost identical red to the Sriracha, by the way. I just noticed that.
Yeah, same color.
Yeah. So 4.5%. This one is interesting. It's a rice lager, but it's brewed with jasmine rice.
Ooh.
So
that's gotta be an interesting taste.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious because I do like a good lager. I don't buy a lot of lagers because I look at the beer shelf and I look at the price of beers and I go, oh, a 4-pack of this like 9% IPA for like $16. Okay, cool. And then I go over and I'm like, well, what do they have for like a lager or a lighter beer that's not absolute, horse crap? And I'm like, oh, there's an interesting looking lager. It's 4%. Oh, it's also $16. I'm going to take the IPA.
My to-do list today was to leave and go get some good beers. I'm out of any good beers at all.
Yeah.
And I realized that the high of 12 degrees we got to today was... I think maybe 14. Ooh, nice cup.
Yeah.
Perfect pour there.
Yes. It's a good looking beer.
Good looking beer. Yeah. The cold one. Now there's liquor. I'm going to go up and get some liquor too. Because it would have been a real emergency if I ran out of whiskey.
Yeah.
But the good news is no one knows what to get me. So everyone gets me whiskey for birthdays and Christmas. So that's how I stock up.
Yes. Yep. Me too. Yeah, most people, they're like, Jeff did something nice for us. Should we do something for buy him a bottle of whiskey? Okay, cool.
Buy him a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
It'll eventually get consumed.
Exactly. Yep. Say the word, nucleation. Yeah. This one's actually not too reactive with there's bubbles coming up, but it's not super reactive. What's really fun on my glasses, so I etched the bottom of my glasses. This one's got a spiral pattern you can kind of make out in there. You'll pour like a really aggressively carbonated beer in there and it'll vortex for like 5 minutes and it's great. It is such a cool thing to watch.
Well, I think what I'll do is run and grab some whiskey because this is empty anyways. So I'll go fill that up and then we'll jump to the next thing.
Excellent. All right. In the meantime, what else do we have? What are we talking about in chat? It's been 10 years since I did any programming at my community college. Yeah. My PC case is 28 years old. Michael, what PC case are you rocking that's 28 years old? I've got a couple from like 2008 and 2010 that are still in production, but 28 years, somebody that's 1998. What Gateway 2000 monstrosity are you rocking right now? I have to know. Tom should join the Craft Computing Secret Santa. Yes. Yeah, we might have to make that happen. Why are dogs like the internet? Because they ARP. Why do they ARP? Because they want to know who you are. Yes, very much so. Any game suggestions? Ooh, that's a dangerous question right now, Django. Or Dengo. Crab Champions. Crab Champions is our current crack that we're going through in the Craft Computing Discord. We have a user role for crab players, and it's called Crabbed Computing. If you want to know how deep that monkey wrench has gone. IX Systems Chris says knock knock. Hello, Chris. How's it going, good sir? I guess we can talk about that now. Because I haven't announced that anywhere. IX Systems Chris, TrueNAS Chris, will be joining the podcast next Wednesday. Probably tomorrow I will be pinging out the community for any questions you have about TrueNAS, ZFS, NAS systems in general. And we're going to be answering some of those on the podcast next week, doing some myth busting. I've done a number of those kind of episodes myself with like deduplication and iSCSI and ZFS, but we will have Chris himself up on the podcast next week. So please tune into that and be ready to give us some suggestions on where to guide that ship, because it's going to be a little bit of a different episode. Should I upgrade to TrueNAS GoldenEye?
Yes.
Yes. Right as Tom sits down, yes.
Yeah. I really don't have any major problems doing the upgrades for TrueNAS. I try to stay on the current version of it. If there's any bugs, I mean, if maybe not on day one of release, if there's some problem found, there's going to be a point release within the first week. They're very on top of it, but mostly if it's been a week, if you're not feeling too froggy, you're good. I start on nightlies because I want it, to tell. I'm among the people that help make sure that if there's a problem, I'll do bug reports and things like that. I'm like, hey, look, this is not working when I did this thing. The SMB broke or whatever it is, and that way by the time it comes to release, and there's a lot of people, that are testing it early like that to help solve the problems. They've actually because they track the stats on it. There's been really good community adoption since version 24. It seems like each version gets more and more like without that lag they were having before for new versions out, and everyone's like, whoa, not me. But I think the biggest reason is because they got rid of Kubernetes underneath it. So
yeah. Should I upgrade to TrueNAS GoldenEye? Chris says yes, but no odd job. So yeah. Knives only? No, screw that. Slappers only. I always like playing man with the golden gun. That's my favorite mode. Is you all start with like basic pistols. You got your DD44, your PP7, and then in the level somewhere is a golden gun. And if you find that, it's a one-shot kill. But you also only have one in the chamber. It is so much fun because the PP7 does jack all for damage. It does like 6% damage per hit, and so you gotta feed 20 shots into someone to kill him. You get the golden gun, it's one shot, but you better hit that one shot.
Yeah.
It's my favorite mode. If we're going GoldenEye lore.
Yeah.
Prox Mines only facility. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that game's a classic.
I guess the Recomp project is nearing completion for GoldenEye.
Really?
Yes. And so they're actively working on a PC port of the original GoldenEye right now.
Okay. I'm all for that.
There's been a couple really cool projects that have cropped up in the last year or so because recompilation efforts on the Nintendo 64 have hit like an all-time high. And in fact, there is a recompilation tool that you can build a native PC port using nothing but the ROM of a game for, and get an application that will run and be able to upscale and do widescreen support and full controller support and everything else. And so we've ended up with some really cool things. Banjo-Kazooie has a full recomp now. Star Fox 64 has a full recomp. Mario Kart 64 has a full recomp. So if you're a fan of like the N64 generation, look out for some of the recomp projects that have been hitting lately. They're incredible. On top of that, what was that project called? Hold on.
I am kind of on the hunt to figure out some new games to play. I'm kind of wearing myself out with the one I'm playing, so.
One of my favorite games from that era was Time Splitters. Time Splitters 2. It was PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox. And they came out with the Time Splitters 3, and it was like okay, but never really great. Never got a PC release. We always wanted a PC release. We actually got an unofficial PC release because one of the old developers for Time Splitters was working on some first-person shooter game, and they actually embedded the Time Splitters game as an Easter egg into an arcade cabinet that if you walked up to in like this abandoned bar, you could click on the arcade cabinet and it would drop you into Time Splitters, and then you could play Time Splitters on the PC. It was great. There's a team out there that requested to be able to do a recomp of Time Splitters and be able to distribute the assets, because that's one of the biggest things. Like recompiling or decompiling and doing a source port is fully legal. That's why we have things like the Zelda 64 source port, where you can play Zelda 64 on your PC. It's a full recompilation, but you still have to supply the original ROM and the original assets, because those are still property of Nintendo. But decompiling and recompiling is fully legal. Distributing with source is not legal unless you have permission, and that's what the Time Splitters Rewind team got. So this is a fully official, unofficial recompilation and rebuild of Time Splitters. Time Splitters 1, Time Splitters 2, that you can download right now for free for the PC. You don't need the ROMs. You don't need anything. You go download it and you go play it. Multiplayer works. It's still in beta. You can play through the single-player campaign. None of the cutscenes are enabled yet, but you can play through the single-player campaign and you can play multiplayer over LAN. And it's great.
I love some of that older gaming era because of the portability of it. All the games once the servers are gone, if the game wasn't popular enough, no one will put any effort into setting the server back up, etc. So it's just kind of gone and that's it, which is sad.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I love playing old games. I am the meme incarnate of I've got a 16-core AMD Ryzen and an RTX 5090. What are you gonna play on it? Stardew Valley.
Yeah. my little you know what? I didn't do this winter. I have not played through all the Marios again, and I usually do that. I haven't gone through Zelda in a little while either. So.
Yeah. What's funny is I usually go through Final Fantasy 2 and 3 over December, and I only did Final Fantasy 2 this year. I haven't done my Final Fantasy 3 playthrough this year, and I've been itching. Like, I've got to scratch that, and I just haven't done that yet. So.
I also debated about re-going through The Witcher again too, because that is still one of my games. I've just of the more modern era, a game that I feel I've only played it once, but I enjoyed it so much, and I went back even after I played it and didn't start over. I just went and did a few random quests here and there. But I don't know, maybe I should start over and just do it again.
Yeah, I love going back to Elder Scrolls Oblivion and even Skyrim and playing through those. Just getting lost for multi-hours. Doing side quests and things like that. Like. That's what I enjoy. I am definitely not a multiplayer shooter. I'm not a PvE type player. I don't like the tourney style or the drop into a map and it's everyone versus everyone. I don't like that style game. It doesn't touch the right neurons for me. Crab Champions is great. It's a roguelike collaborative shooter.
I'm putting a note to myself now as I was looking, what's that game they talked about at Craft Computing? And then it blanked out of my head, so I'm making a note right now.
Crab Champions. It's $8, Tom.
Yeah, I know. It's only because I forgot. I had no problem buying it. I just can't remember what it was called. It was like, what's that game Jeff was talking about? It involved a sea creature. That's the only thing that was in my head.
It involved a sea creature.
That was the part I remembered.
Yeah, and as Vince in the chat points out, I have a Final Fantasy III cartridge. I don't have any excuses for not playing through this winter. It's right here.
Nice.
You know what? Hey, Rev, since you're watching, I want you to add Tom to Crabbed Computing. So every time we play it and do an announcement, he gets pinged, so he has to remember.
Yes. Then it'll encourage me to join as well.
Exactly. So I want you to add him to the roll, please.
Oh, actually, you know what's open right now? My gaming system. I can remote into it from here. Is it? Oh no, it went to sleep. Crap. All right. Well, I'll fix that later.
Waiting for the Voyager game to release next month for roguelike where I can keep Tuvix alive and promote Harry Kim. Yes. Have you seen the Star Trek Voyager game that's coming out?
I did see like some notices. I did not read it.
It
I've never played any of the Star Trek games. Are any of them good?
There's some gems in there. Star Trek Online, I guess, has been pretty great for a pretty long time, and I've thought about diving into it, but I'm also not an MMO fan. Like I don't like questing for questing's sake. Like I'd rather like more interpersonal experience, not like, yeah, I played the quest, cool. 9,000 other people played it today, you know. But my favorite Star Trek game is probably Legacy. Star Trek Legacy, I think was the name of the game. And it had all four of the captains, the four current captains. It had Kirk, Picard, Sisko, Janeway, and Archer. I guess it had all five of them. Do voiceover work for like captain's logs in the game and things like that. And but you took command of your starship and you went on missions. And that's my favorite one. But there's a Star Trek Voyager roguelike game coming out that you start at the beginning of the campaign. You're Captain Janeway. You've been transported to the Delta Quadrant, 70,000 light years from home. And you will now progress through the game. And your decisions in the game have an effect on how you play through. And you will encounter different upgrades and things like that you can do. But it will also introduce random episode plot lines that you have to navigate through as part of your roguelike experience. Depending on what upgrades you've gotten or what personnel is still alive depends on how you can navigate that episode's plot line. So it's a combination of like a re-exploring of Star Trek Voyager while also being like a roguelike, like 1 hour drop in and have fun game. And rogues are my favorite type of game because I don't have a lot of time to dive into 80 hours worth of gameplay, but I can sink an hour into something almost every day.
I see people saying Star Trek Legacy was good.
Elite Force was also incredible. Quake 3 engine back in the day. The best Star Trek shooter that's ever been made. Star Trek Elite Force and Elite Force 2. You can get them on GOG. They're like $5 a piece.
Yeah, I'm making some notes. I will buy games after this. Need a couple things to play.
Yeah. Yakto says, Jeff, you're pronouncing Star Trek Klingon weird. I didn't like Klingon Academy. So there was I think 3 different Starfleet Academy games. There were 2 Bridge Commander games. The Bridge Commander games were okay. I didn't like Star Trek Klingon. I tried. I own it. I didn't like it. Sorry. The Star Trek Armada 3 or the Star Trek Armada 3 mod for Sins of a Solar Empire. Yes. Not Tech Support says, I would say Doom RL, the Doom roguelike, but they got a C and D and I forgot what the rebrand is. I think it was Doom RPG. There is a roguelike Doom game that is incredible. And I'm trying to remember what that was. Yeah, Star Trek Legacy played on the 360. I had it on the 360. I also had it on the PC. Best Star Trek game of all time, and this is undisputed, is Artemis Bridge Simulator with the Star Trek mod. Have you ever played Artemis?
That's the one where you played in person, right?
Yes.
Yes. Years ago, I played it. They have it at some of the nerd events I go to.
Yes. Yeah. That is the best Star Trek game of all time because you get to stand on the bridge and command your crew, and do things like you would on a Starfleet ship, and go on missions and blow up and then do it again. One of the this was 10-12 years ago. My wife and my one kid at the time flew back to her family to see them for Easter, and I stayed home because I had to work and things like that. But I'm like, well, I got the weekend free. Why not on Saturday before Easter, I host an Artemis party at my house? I've got enough computers laying around and enough things. I could probably drum up enough systems. We had 5 ships worth of people, flying ships in the same universe, playing Artemis.
Oh, that's cool.
We did 3-person ships where you had a captain who also did communications and science, and then you had a tactical, and then you had a helm. And so you did all 5 stations, but with 3 people, but with multiple, because they have an iPad app, they had an iPhone app, an Android app, and you could run it on the PC. And so we'd like have the helm station on a PC with a joystick. And then the captain would sit there with a couple of iPads to navigate his things. And then you also had tactical, who also had like an iPad and then another screen that they could do things on. But I actually set up my first official studio space for craft computing. I had that was just our bonus room, so it had like a projector and a couch and a couple of other things. I moved my workbench from the garage. I cleared that off, and I created like the tactical, like Worf's bench behind Captain Picard on the Enterprise. So I had like a tactical station behind. I had a captain's chair in front, and then I had a helm and a science station in front of that. So we had like one full starship with a full view screen in front, and then we had like 3 or 4 other stations in the house with like, you know, whatever TVs I could rummage across to put it on the dining table and have people play there. And the rule was that you were allowed to hear everything happening on your bridge. But if you needed to communicate with another ship, the captain talked to communication. Communication talked to the other communications officer via a Ventrilo server. And then that communications officer would relay with their captain. So you actually had to go through the relay channels like you normally would. Added a huge, you know, piece of realism to the whole thing. It was so much fun.
Ventrilo too.
Yeah.
That's a word I haven't heard in a minute.
Right? That's how long ago that was.
Yeah. Vent servers, man. No one called them Ventrilo. They're vent servers we had set up.
Yeah. Yakto says, why don't we play Bridge Commander at the next YOLO LAN? Screw it. Why don't we play Artemis at the next YOLO LAN? You know, we get 2 or 3 crews together and we go on missions, try to blow things up or blow each other up, because that's a lot of fun. We played Starfleet Battles. Oh wait, that was the board game. I did have the Star Trek trading card game for a while. I had a couple thousand cards in that. So I had
as much as I've always been a Trekkie, I've never had any of the games. Not board games, not card games, not the PC games. I don't know. In my younger years, I was all about the first-person shooters. I really got into and learned firewalls in depth because I was into hosting Unreal Tournament servers in the earliest days because I had access to a T1
right.
to host and things to host on. I was a huge fan of doing all the mods and everything else and running so many different instances. Yeah. I had so much extra hardware that I had access to, and it was great. Back in the day. Yep. So I did like the first person shooters. That is where I spent a whole lot of my time. But those are the early day ones, which are very different than a lot of the first person shooters now.
Very much so. Yeah.
What I actually like less is the time and development you put into the characters. Like oh no, we got to unlock this gun or unlock. I'm like, no, each character has its defining features and that's it. Yeah. Well, in Unreal there wasn't any. It was just like all the characters the same, just the weapon choices were the only defining features and they were just pickups. Yeah. So there was no, it was just like jump in and play and lean into your skill sets.
Yeah, I like that style game a lot more. Not necessarily progressing and unlocking and you know, building your character to be perfect. I don't mind unlocking mechanisms within a game. Like Crab Champions has an unlock mechanism where you have to complete the game and you collect keys, and those keys can unlock new weapons. And then once your weapons are unlocked, they can unlock perks that you can start a game with. And so you do get a little bit of a bonus once you've unlocked everything, which is nice, but it's not necessary to play the game. Back in the day, I was huge into the Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight scene. There was a number of different sites that ran total conversion mods for it to give you like modern day weapons like AKs and assault rifles and turn your thermal detonators into grenades and things like that. And I would play on the online servers on those, but that was literally like just pick your loadout and then go and then collect your weapon a la Quake 3. So I don't mind that so much, but the you have to progress and you have to grind 40 hours to be even competitive with modern online games. I'm just not.
That's the part I have the problem with as well. I see a good morning from Kenya. So good morning. I'm glad it's morning somewhere. That's a faraway plan, and that's cool.
I don't know that I've had anyone from Kenya. I know I've had a couple African countries. I've had South Africa. I've had Egypt once before, but I don't think I've ever had one from Kenya. So hello. Thank you for watching.
I haven't heard from him in a little while. I had someone from Kenya that used to message me, and I'd talk back and forth with them once in a while, emails, and they'd send me pictures because I find it interesting because those places Europe is so close to us in terms of like they speak a different language. The buildings are older, but there's still a lot of similarities between here and Europe.
Yeah.
There is a much different in some of those other areas. And I always find that really interesting. It's a very different life over there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Same kind of thing with South Africa. And here in the US, we have a certain kinship with, Australia, Canada, UK, Germany, Spain, similar ways of life, similar, infrastructure, things like that. I do like hearing from places that aren't that though. Like I've had viewers in Brazil and Argentina chime in. I've had, Kenya.
And those are also very different places.
Exactly. And so it's always interesting, but thank you for watching. I really, really genuinely appreciate that.
Yeah. Should we cover these last couple news stories?
Absolutely. Let's see. Nvidia wants to get in on the CPU game.
I mean, they got a couple dollars. They could spend some R&D money.
They could sling some silicon our way, right?
Yeah.
In between their AI runs. Wait. Heckman also says, also watching. We have 2 Kenyan viewers tonight.
Oh, that's awesome.
What in the world? Thank you. That's cool.
Yeah.
So we all know that Nvidia, as far as their AI factory, their Blackwell supercomputer, their Ada supercomputer, Hopper supercomputer, they've been doing their own CPU design for a little while for those, using an ARM processor. So their top end supercomputer build out right now is what's known as the B300 supercomputer. And on board are 2 B300 Blackwell GPUs with a 72-core ARM CPU that is designed by NVIDIA. And the idea behind it has kind of been, well, we need something to schedule all of the AI inference. And so if we can have a CPU doing like the ingress and then the scheduling, then the Blackwells can just do their thing, and we don't have to pay Intel, and we don't have to pay AMD, and we're all good, right?
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that ARM is becoming very competitive depending on your build out, your wattage, your power loads, all that kind of stuff. ARM is starting to encroach on some x86 areas. We're seeing this in even the gaming space. Hashtag maybe a couple weeks from now, I have a video coming out where I'm going to be gaming on a DGX Spark. I was playing Crab Champions on it the other night, and it was pretty great. So stay tuned for that. And that's running a 20-core ARM processor or 10-core ARM processor. I don't remember which. but basically a little version of Vera, of their server 72 core CPU. Um, Man, if Nvidia becomes serious about this, fourth player in the CPU space outside of Altera, Amazon, Google, Intel, AMD, like,
I like more ARM stuff. I mean, it's interesting as it becomes more mainstream. It's you can't beat the way these MacBooks work. I mean, it's been obviously that's a combination of not just ARM but also really good software integration. But
yep.
yeah, this is I don't know. I think computing is going to keep getting better
Yeah.
in
And
some really interesting ways.
yeah, and honestly, the more diversified we get, competition breeds innovation. Like I've said that so many times on this channel and on this show, but we as consumers should strive for competition. We want to see competition between every vendor that's out there. And if Nvidia wants to throw a CPU out into the market, freaking go for it. But this story right here is talking specifically about their Vera CPU, which is their upcoming CPU that's going to stand beside their next generation GPU cores, codenamed Rubin. Vera is going to be an upgrade of their existing ARM stack, equipped with 88 custom ARM v9.2 Olympus cores that utilize spatial multi-threading technology, allowing it to handle 176 threads. So a fully multi-threaded 88-core CPU. Look, they're not going to beat Intel, let alone AMD, with their first generation offering if they go like, here's a genericized version of what we're publishing for our our Rubin supercomputer. But 88 cores is also nothing to slough at, especially hyper-threaded, especially if you're offering 1.2 terabytes of bandwidth memory and supporting 1.5 terabytes of LPDDR5X memory on board that chip. There's going to be users for that. There's going to be buyers for that.
Yeah. Provided we can get DDR5 at some reasonable price.
Also, yes. If only you weren't using so much in your B300s, we could have some to spare for your Vera CPUs.
Yes. Yeah. What does the future of PC building, or at least the immediate future of PC building, look like? It's just, it's in a sad state of affairs.
Yeah. This next month, I have, I think, 3 different reviews that are coming out for what are essentially pre-built systems, because that's the way to go right now. Like I said, I've got a couple for minis for them. I'm going to be doing a review on the Dell GB10, which is their version of the DGX Spark from Nvidia. Yeah, off-the-shelf hardware, not looking great right now. And I really hope my catalog of M.2 storage lasts for the next 2 years, because it's in the drawer across the room from me. I've got about 15 or so M.2 drives for various projects, but as those drives get used up, there's less of them, and I can't afford to buy new 1 terabyte drives anymore.
Yeah, I seen a price this morning on it. It was a discussion. I was like, wow. So
yeah. It's like $240 for a 1 terabyte Gen 4 or Gen 5. Like, doesn't matter. Those were $40.
Yeah.
Beginning of last year.
I know. I have a bunch of them, and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the Microsoft article, I'm a little... I've seen this in the news, and I have a question. Is anyone surprised? I don't know why this is... It's almost like...
Yeah.
They hold your keys. If the government comes a knocking, they're going to give them. They have a cozy relationship with the government.
Yep.
So Microsoft confirms it will give the FBI your Windows PC data encryption keys if asked. You can thank Windows 11's for forced online accounts for that.
Yep. And I think it's that second sentence that really irritates a lot of people, is your PC used to be yours. Flat out. It used to be you installed Windows, you created a user, you used your Windows PC because it was yours. And look, there's a lot of things that Microsoft does that gets flack that I don't necessarily disagree with. There's a lot of things that Microsoft does that gets flack that I 100% disagree with. There's I don't necessarily disagree with Microsoft advertising, hey, we have paid services that might enhance your desktop experience if you want them. Hey, have you thought about, doing some OneDrive storage? Apple does that, Google does that, Amazon does that. Of course, Microsoft's going to do that. I really don't find that much harm in it. To a point. That point is where they start forcing you to do it. Where it's no longer a choice, where it's a requirement, or where your average user is tricked into doing something that is against their, what's best for the user. And the forced Microsoft Windows 11 accounts, where you have to verify you authenticate with a Microsoft account before it lets you onto your local PC, that's a problem. The tricking you into OneDrive because they put it as the default save location for all the default apps now, like Notepad and Microsoft Word. Hey, would you rather save this to OneDrive? I guess I'll save it to OneDrive. What's that? My documents? No, it's an online service. Give us $20. It's like, no, Piss off with that. When their entire business model is reliant on essentially tricking most of their end users into subscribing to services they don't need, I have a problem.
Yeah.
The ongoing requirement of you must use a Windows Live account to log into your local PC, which comes with all of this extra criteria, which is, hey, if you also encrypt with Bitlocker, which we do by default now, which I don't necessarily disagree with. Bitlocker is a great thing. Encrypt your drive. Make sure that if your device is ever stolen, no one can access your stuff unless they have your password. That's a good thing. I don't like that if you happen to be tricked into creating a Microsoft account, your backup keys went to Microsoft without your consent. And now, if those are subpoenaed, they're given to the FBI. I'm not defending criminals here. Criminals deserve to be prosecuted, but at the same time, you as a user have personal rights. And this is an affront to that. And that's the problem.
Yes. And I think very few people have an understanding that their keys were uploaded. They thought they had it encrypted, and they didn't understand it because it's not clear.
Yes. It's one of the other 30 services that they offer that change names once a year. It was Office. It was Office. Then it was Office 365. Then it was Outlook 365. Then it's Copilot 365. And then next year, who knows what the hell it'll be?
I think everything's just Copilot now.
Everything's Copilot now. Yeah,
we just prefixed it.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be Windows 12. It's going to be Copilot OS. But did the users consent to backup keys of their encryption being offloaded to Microsoft? And not only that, Microsoft should have zero-knowledge architecture for those keys. They shouldn't be able to read those keys. Every VPN we criticize every VPN service on the planet that doesn't offer zero-knowledge architecture. Like, just as an example, why is Microsoft able to read your data in plain text that they're storing? They shouldn't be able to do that.
Right. But they do.
But they do, and they are.
Yeah. I seen the articles, and it's been getting more popular, and I guess there's probably some values. I may do a video about it tomorrow just to briefly cover, because I think it helps raise awareness that your keys are stored with Microsoft. Now, to a lesser extent, and I'm less a Mac person, even though I'm using one right now, I do know that Mac has the ability to store your keys in the iCloud account. But I'm a little bit less familiar. I went through a process to make sure I wasn't doing that. And I can't remember that process exactly. I went through some work instructions someone wrote because I don't have really any of the services tied to the iCloud account.
Neither do I.
Yeah, I don't need them. I'm not worried about losing my key. I know it offered it for security. We'll back up your key for you. I'm like, no, you won't, because that's not what I want.
Nope, I've got it. It's cool.
So, yeah.
But the idea that someone offering a cloud storage product in 2026 has the ability to read in plain text your data that's uploaded to their service should be an instant disqualification from using them. So it's not only the fact that Microsoft tricked probably these users into backing up their BitLocker encryption keys into Microsoft's cloud, it's that they also didn't have zero knowledge of the encryption key to be able to hand those over. There's two problems here, not just one.
Right. Oh, what a mess.
Yeah.
Speaking of messes, that last story. Oh boy. This is the one I want to rant about.
It's time.
I got a drink in me. I'm ready to ramble. So Fortinet is a company that loves me. I've learned because did this video. I've done actually a few videos covering Fortinet over the years, but I have one particular video that is linked. If you use the URL lawrence.video/Fortinet, that gets a lot of clicks because I share it everywhere. It is a collection showing the pattern of behavior, which can certainly help predict future patterns of behavior with Fortinet, which includes an egregious number of terrible vulnerabilities. Now, the latest one is really wild because Fortinet blocks exploited Fortinet SSO 0-day until patch is ready. What this patch is it turns out some threat actors registered a real Fortinet account because if you had a Fortinet account and you were tying it to the FortiCare system, it was like remote management tools. I understand it. I'm not a Fortinet expert. They figured out a way to take over other people's Fortinets. And my guess is, because I want someone to really go over how this works, but the fact that you can take over someone else's account tells me that on a per account basis, they are not building unique keys.
Correct.
So this allows lots of people to take over. Yep. So what Fortinet did was block access to their SSO sign-in system because any older Fortinet without the patch, which are still working on the patch right now as of today, is vulnerable to this attack. It is such a disaster. I'm like, they had to have been reusing signatures or something that, like, we're just going to give every customer the same key.
This has to be a shared key. There's no other explanation.
It has to be a shared key. And that's the only thing that makes sense for how egregiously dumb this is. Now, Fortinet, to make things worse, there are certainly the Fortinet defenders, because I will be ranting about this more soon. I'm waiting for a debrief before I rant on it. But the Fortinet's history is not like normal CVEs. Their Fortinet web application firewall had an input sanitization problem that caused people to take over the firewall. Now, if you don't know what a web application firewall is, among the things in their own marketing materials is it stops this type of behavior. So it protects your web application. I guess it protects it by taking a bullet and becoming the vulnerable device. Hey, we'll put this in front of your web application and we'll go ahead and do this. Yeah. And what made matters worse is you think, okay, bad input sanitization, so they got some access to the device. Where do we go from there? Well, it turns out what they got access to was MySQL. And anyone who's ever set up in their early days of playing with Linux servers, MySQL, and you couldn't get it to work right, what'd you do? You ran it as root. You know what Fortinet was doing in 2025? They were running MySQL as root. So that gave the privileged escalation that threat actors needed to attack that device.
Oh, God.
Their egregiousness of them. They're not like this, wow, this is really clever. I'm amazed someone figured this out. When they figure something out with Fortinet, it's always something stupid like, did you know they use hard-coded credentials everywhere? Then they had one where you could get into the command line of the Fortinet firewalls. It's in my list of ones, but it was funny because it was one of those user null ones where if you used a password, it wouldn't work, but if you put null, nothing, you could get in. Whoops, we didn't check for null. We only validated if there was a password or if it was the wrong password, but null, who just presses enter. Oh crap, someone did.
I'm still hung up on the fact that their security application, which was meant to sanitize inputs for your SQL or your web app or whatever you were doing, rather sanitize the inputs for the application itself, but then accepted those inputs on their own application being the firewall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. You can't make this stuff up. And then to find out the reason in the fact that it's running as root, we had full privileges.
Right. Also, yes.
Yeah. So we just didn't get to some low level privilege, and we had to figure out how to elevate our privileges to actually do something fun. We're like, oh, I'm root now.
Right. Gosh.
Yeah, it is fun. By the way, if anyone is wondering, they did sign the Secure by Design, because nothing says, I'm confident when a bunch of people in suits shake hands and, dog and pony show of I signed Secure by Design from CISA because we're Secure by Design. They did that in 2024, but then still had, production code shipping running as root with a MySQL server in 2025 on a supported product, because someone was complaining, and they were slightly right. I will give people when they're right. They said, Tom, you're pointing out problems in an older version that's not supported anymore, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but it's hard-coded keys are hard-coded keys.
Right.
You're right. They should be on the latest version, not this version. But why did that version have hard-coded keys? Even if it was made 8 years ago, OWASP top 10, read that list, hand it to the Fortinet people as a pamphlet, and say, look, there's all kinds of things you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
We established this more than 10 years ago.
Right. I was doing a lot of research for my VPN video this last week, and the simplest thing that you can watch is go watch Tom Scott's video on VPNs. It's incredible. It's 7 minutes long, and it tells you everything you need to know about VPN advertising and whatnot. And I didn't want to rehash that, but I also wanted to go back and re-research just for my own purposes to make sure that everything that I was saying was accurate. And as of 2002, every financial website that you logged into or anything that needed credit card information, like eBay or Amazon or whatever, was using HTTPS. And so password spoofing and credit card details just flying into the ether, that wasn't a thing anymore. As of 2010, most websites had already moved over to HTTPS. And so even going to Google was HTTPS by default in 2010. As of 2016, iOS required that every application that had a web call went over HTTPS. And as of 2018, those same restrictions hit Android. And so for the last decade, every site you visit is HTTPS, is fully AES 256 encrypted.
Yeah, we're at the 90-something%. The exceptions for sites that aren't encrypted anymore are some random read-only blog where you have no login. So there's some old sites on the internet hanging out.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's never any real sites that you're worried about. So
nothing with a login, and certainly nothing with financial data behind it. And so, I didn't want to go into the weeds because I think Tom Scott summed it up better in 30 seconds than I could in 20 minutes. And I simply went, everything uses HTTPS. Everything's secure. Everything's encrypted. Your VPN tunnel is not an encryption that protects you, because once you leave the tunnel, you're on the internet. That's it.
Which, by the way, thanks, Let's Encrypt. That is why so many things are encrypted. Let's Encrypt, the Acme system, and all the engineering that went into that. That is why we have encryption on easily done for all sites now. Let's Encrypt is actually not just disrupted, I would say they have destroyed the certificate industry.
Absolutely.
Tip of the hat for that too.
Yeah.
EV certs died because of Let's Encrypt, and I'm okay with this.
Yep. But yeah, the idea that anyone can snoop your traffic at this point for anything other than some random blog by someone who, hasn't updated their site since 2003. Unencrypted traffic doesn't exist anymore. All of your traffic is encrypted, or 90+% of it.
Yeah, any of that matters.
Right. But the fact that Fortinet is still putting out bangers like this.
Yeah.
Common security practice fails in every way, shape, and form.
And for anyone wondering, why Fortinet remains such a popular product. And that's because a good reseller program is a hell of a drug. As
Yes.
long as these people are making good commissions on renewing their licenses that they resold to people, because Fortinet is a licensed device, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of them out there.
Yep.
I got into an argument with some people about this the other day, and I will still defend my position on this. I think that there is an egregious number of vulnerabilities that have not been found yet in much of the enterprise equipment compared
Sure.
to even some of the Ubiquity. I'll call Ubiquity specifically for
Hmm.
probably having better security. And the reason why is Ubiquity, and they're not perfect by any means,
Right.
but one, has a very public bug bounty program, and two, they're extremely accessible. And
Yeah.
that is something that is less so. For example, if I wanted to get a Fortinet and test the vulnerability and look for the keys and reverse engineer, I have to buy a very expensive device. I have to buy a very expensive license.
Yep.
And because I have to shell out for that, and by the way, Fortinet does not pay out for bug bounties at all.
Yep.
You only get your name and lights. So the only incentive I have is if I wanted to poke at it to get my name and lights, which, by the way, I'm not a security researcher, so I don't want to spend a lot of time doing that. But it's not an accessible,
My name's
easily
already in
accessible product.
lights. I don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very challenging, and that scales upward. If you look at Palo Alto, Cisco Firepower, the really high-end firewalls, you're talking about $20,000-$30,000 devices plus licensing, resellers, etc. So poking at these devices is hard versus Ubiquity, even though they make an expensive enterprise firewall gateway for several $1,000s, runs the same software as their cheap one does.
Yep.
So you can go buy the $279 one or even $199 gateway and poke at it, mostly the same as you would if it was a larger system.
Yep.
And that is why
And
there's a
no
lot
license. You buy
Yeah.
the hardware, you plug it in, it runs the same software as the $4,000 unit. Like,
Yep. Which is the same thing with pfSense, OpenSense, any of the open source ones, because
Yep.
you can just download and poke at them. There's a lot of and it's not a guarantee that because it's more accessible, but I will say that there is when, especially there's a mature bug bounty program like Ubiquity has. Ubiquity's payouts for high CVE is $25,000.
Yeah.
They've paid out hundreds of thousands of dollars in bug bounties,
Yep.
so they're incentivizing people to do it.
Yep. Yep. And I love the fact that whenever I post anything with Ubiquity or NordVPN, so not to go back to this again, but the VPN video that I posted this week was, I said I'm using NordVPN. It's not sponsored. I've been a customer for 8 years, and I recommend them because I like them, and you know, yes, I've had financial interest with them. I don't have any current financial interest with them, and I'm not trying to drum any up. It's just a good product that I trust. That, well, back in 2018 in the Netherlands, there was a compromised server from an IPMI exploit that they managed to take control of one of the Nord servers, and that was just a horrible exploit. I went, yeah, that was a horrible exploit that NordVPN got in front of, alerted every customer in their customer base about. Was a side-loaded attack from a hosted server in a non-owned data center, which they no longer do. Their servers are all also now RAM only. Their local servers don't even have storage, so it doesn't even matter if they have the capability to take logs. The servers themselves don't have the capability to save those logs.
They're volatile now with the servers.
They're 100% volatile, and I went. So you're taking one exploit that happened on a fringe case to one server from 8 years ago and basing that on whether or not you trust a company in which the company was fully transparent about the exploit and the mediation steps therein. Boy, if that's the only story that they've had in the last 8 years, I am still buying them 100% of the time.
Yeah. And it's tricky because, I mean, you are kicking the can down the road a little bit with any of the servers, or any of the VPN companies and trusting their servers, because there is the ability to tap out a server. It's just usually it's not worth the effort.
Yep.
If you read, and by the way, you should, if you ever want to understand how many of these cases come forward, I've talked about this and made people very angry, talking about Tor, of how they caught people on Tor. I'm like, read any of the dockets, read the prosecution things. Matter of fact, it's one of the reasons I like Darknet Diaries as a podcast, because Jack Resider covers this by reading court documents, and you can gleam a lot. You're like, oh, the government has a secret backdoor in the Tor. Nope, bad OPSEC. It was like anytime they've caught people, you're like, yeah,
No, he logged into his Instagram while he was on tour, which means now we can identify all of his client traffic based on his unique identifier. And I said as much in my video. I said, look, obscuring your originating IP address is a very good start. But if you've ever inspected an advertiser cookie or a device identifier cookie, you know you're leaving a unique fingerprint. My Mac Mini that has X number of devices connected to it and a 3440 by 1440 monitor with a Blackmagic capture card and a couple of other devices, that's a unique identifier. You're every time you leave a device identifying cookie, you're leaving your unique footprint of what your hardware is and what browser you're using, what version of software you're using, what applications are open, and if you're logged into a browser, it's game over anyway. And so, yeah, anonymity is great, but it's so easy to breach that wall.
Yep. You fail on the OPSEC just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, people who are going to the same location each time to log in, the same library.
Yep.
You know, look up the Dread Pirate Robert, how he got arrested.
Yep.
So there's all those little things that can add up. So it is hard. It is require a lot of detective work to be able to figure it out. It's not as simple as a backdoor in Tor or, you know, VPN
or
companies
simply being on Tor.
Or simply being on Tor. Yeah, billions and billions of dollars are lost via social engineering. So the Lapsa Shiny Hunters, whatever they're calling themselves these days. One thing, if you follow them, it is a bunch of generally kids, and they do speed runs through these companies when they do this hacking. When you read some of the stuff they did, it's 100% social engineering. Just getting people to click on stuff and things like that. It is. Part of me, not that in any way I'm condoning criminal behavior, but it does remind me of some of the old school lulsec stuff in the earlier days of hacking and shenanigans. But where the pivot is, they're still doing it for money, and those are the same groups of people where Krebs coined violence as a service, because they did the XKCD. I can't remember which one it is, the beat 'em with a wrench one.
Yeah.
They have done that to get passwords. Oh, wow, this company's got great security.
Here's a $4 million, security cracking tool. Oh, crap, it's 4,096 ASA. Well, we tried. And it's like, here, beat him with this $5 wrench until he tells us the password.
Yes, pretty much. I love that XKCD.
So good.
And it's one of the things that the kids have, unfortunately, gone to that level of violence, and that is sad.
Yep.
But, yeah.
But, also speaking to the Nord incident, like back in 2018, people go, oh, Nord was compromised. Do you realize they also had to drive the people to a compromised Nord client so they could give them a known key, because they still couldn't generate a key on the Nord server to view the traffic that was going through? It was such a specific targeted action that it was beyond scope for anything. But now it's in scope. Now they know that kind of attack exists, and they mitigated those attacks. And that's the security company you want working for you.
Yeah.
Again, not sponsored by Nord. I have no financial interest in them whatsoever right now. The last ad I ran for them was 6 months ago. I don't even know if they paid me.
Yeah. Someone asked about privacy online, and if you're interested in one of the interesting safeguards you can do besides Tor and Tails OS, but there's also Chasm. Chasm is a really interesting disposable browser system. It has a lot of other use cases, but I've covered that as a video. It is a really interesting way to create ephemeral browser sessions that disappear. And the advantage of these versus yours is, did you forget to log out? Did you forget OPSEC? Versus when you spin up a disposable browser, you don't worry about OPSEC. Every browser instance is disposable. Mine by default expire in 1 hour from creation. So even if I forget, I only have to forget for an hour, and anything I did, any trace of it just goes away if I don't kill the session myself. You can override those settings, but creating ephemeral browser sessions is a really interesting way to keep your privacy. I also, my Chasm server is automatically via policy redirected over a VPN no matter what. So it's always going out over a VPN. I don't have to go, did I turn a VPN on?
Yep.
It's never not on. It's never not on. And then the browser sessions are themselves disposable. And because you're running, it's really weird how Chasm works. It's a browser within a browser because it looks like a browser to you. They're actually using a really clever way of streaming it to you. So it's just really neat.
It's a VDI session, and it's great. And actually, I've been in talks with them lately to maybe do a video based on my V100 server of hosting Chasm on the V100 and then firing up a bunch of VDI instances. And so, yeah, like there's probably going to be a Chasm video on my channel in the next month or so.
Yeah, so take a look at that. I'm assuming they haven't changed any of their policies and it's still free, right? It's all just
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's open source and free. I don't know what I should say. I think it's open source. It's at least source code available. Yeah. It's just a bunch of Docker sessions. Yeah. It's Chasm is a whole lot of Docker sessions in the trench code disguised as a disposable browser. So
yes,
it is neat what they put together. They do sell a commercial product as well. So there is a business behind it, but in general, you can inspect it. It's pretty clever what they're doing.
Yeah, but no, I mean, just at like a local level, I have multiple browsers on my PCs that I use for streaming and recording things. And the reason for that is I use Chrome for all of my logins. I'd like to move away from Chrome, but I'm a G Suite company. My companies are all built on Google. I use Chrome because it's the most compatible. It just is what it is. But if I'm ever streaming, if I'm ever showing a demonstration for camera, for recording or whatever else, this browser here is Firefox, and this version of Firefox deletes its history every time I log off. Every time I close the browser, it wipes all of its history. Even if I do log into it, it starts a new session next time a new window opens. And the reason for that is so I don't accidentally dox myself by logging into like my personal email account or things like that. I had to do some logins in my last video, and it drove me nuts, because my full personal email address was in the top right corner of the Nord password window, or the Nord account page, and I had to show some things on there, and it's like, I don't need that to be there. I don't need to show this password. Why is this IP address here? Stop this, stop that. I had to go through that video with a fine-tooth comb to make sure I didn't accidentally dox myself, and that's with using essentially a disposable browser.
So the little fun things we have to do.
Yeah.
But I've had people complain that I use Chrome for stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm running my company on the Google Suite.
Yeah.
Because hosting your own email is... Don't. I used to be a mail server admin for years. That was a big part of my Linux journey, was managing mail servers for companies, including my own. I eventually just said, this is not worth the time.
Yep. It is such a thing.
Although, and I don't know that I'm so embedded with the Google Suite. Not that and it's not that expensive. In terms of what my expenses are, it's very little. But I have debated about moving over because I'm a much smaller company now that I don't have my MSP anymore. It's only a couple of users I have on my Google Suite. Proton and a couple others do have a reasonable mail package.
Yeah, I've considered that myself. I've got I think I have like 6 or 7 different email accounts and a couple different domains. Mine's a little bit bigger, but that's also because I run the merch store. I've also got OpenViro. Right. I've got multiple ingresses that I have to maintain with different faces. And so a little bit different, but yeah, I've fully considered like, hey, G Suite, I'm really tired of disabling Gemini in 13 different locations, and all of a sudden locations 14, 15, and 16 are popping up. Would you fucking stop? That's getting to me. I'm about ready to pull the trigger on something else. Simply so, when I log into Google Drive, it stops saying, oh, all of your files in here contain this information, like benchmarks for the GB10, or a VPN gateway tutorial that you wrote 6 years ago. Would you like to know more? No, I just want my files. That's all I want. Yeah. Stop it.
The things that would kind of break is I do have, for archival reasons, mostly all my MSP files, which I can probably get rid of now that it's a few years ago now. I don't think I need to keep much of that. But I do like the convenience of all my mail being backed up with my Synology.
Yeah.
And I would end up trying to figure out a way to do that with Proton. I don't think it'd work as well. That's where I'm at with that. I think it would be a different challenge. It's, in laziness, I have so many other things to get done.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's like it's a low priority. It's like my desire to switch from Google is just a desire as opposed to I need to get this server video done and I need to get this project done and I need to do
Exactly.
this.
I would like to move off of Google, but right now Google functions and I need it to function. And moving to something else would be a whole headache and a half, and probably multiple days of downtime to transfer domains, and I just don't have time for that.
Because I'm working on some Proxmox videos and I'm like, what's the priority? Tom moves from Google. Some people think, hoorah, Tom got off Google, or Tom gets Proxmox videos done because that's just something people have been asking about.
Right? Yeah, probably that second one.
Yeah. Because I did my Proxmox versus XCP&G video, and it's controversial as always when you compare two products. There are the it has become quite the fevered debate with people.
Yes. People keep wanting you to come on my channel and do XCP&G stuff too. And
yeah.
Every time I post a Proxmox video, it's like, why didn't you do this in XCP&G? It's like, because this is a Proxmox video.
Yeah. And I'm going to do some more Proxmox videos because part of what I don't like about Proxmox is there's too much you can do, so people do things, and there's other people who are telling people to do things wrong. So I'm like, God damn it, I have to do a video on how to do this right.
Right.
I have a bias. People contact me for consulting not because they did it right. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
They're like, please save me. I was joking the other day that I could probably, I don't know if I could put a real business model around it, but I had a consulting project and I'm like, I can't really fix your problem and no one can fix your problem because your problem is you built it wrong. But you'll have all your data on this giant storage array, and I need to get your data to another storage array so I can put your storage array together in a sane manner. Yeah. But I can't do it with your data on it. So I'm like, and they were asking me about temporary renting storage. I'm like, you have 3 petabytes of storage. I
don't have that much.
I don't have an extra 3 petabytes that I can loan you right now.
Right.
Not to mention the time it takes to get that. And they're like, oh, can we do this without downtime? I was like, no, this time, that's not even a question. They were just going to, no.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hire me anymore, that's fine. But I'm going to be straight up honest. No, this is going to broke. This is going to be downtime.
I can't transfer 3 petabytes worth of data to another array and bring all your storage online on off hours. That doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right.
It's going to take a week to transfer that anyway. Let alone getting it back up and running, let alone getting your servers rebuilt, let alone retransferring all your data so you can use it again.
Yeah. What's my favorite part is the answer is we have 100 gig connections. I said, yes, but you have no capable hardware to transfer near edge 100 gig. They're not even touching 25 gig with some of this stuff. I'm like, good news, you have 100. You invested in this, but bad news is you have nothing that can even, your bottleneck isn't even close to networking.
Yeah.
Because they have big arrays of HDDs not set up properly.
Yeah. Oof.
So, yeah. I made sure to mention in recent video, completely possibly unrelated to client consulting that maybe VDEVs shouldn't exceed certain widths. I certainly have pointed this out. I also think that I haven't tested this a while in TrueNAS, but I don't think you should be able to create 50 drives in a single VDEV without a warning coming up. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It seems like it should tell you. You can do it.
Right.
And that's why I said in my video, I had recommendations. And I said, if you're doing RAID Z3, don't get the VDEVs wider than 14. And I'm not telling you it breaks at 15. Right. I'm just saying 14 and beyond, the problems become exponential.
Right. Yeah.
And
the largest I like to run 8 drive VDEVs in Z2. Like that's kind of like where my sweet spot is at.
8 to 10 in Z2 is a happy space to be.
Exactly. If you want to run a Z3, I'll stretch it to 10 or 12, but you're starting to like breach my comfort zone a little bit. But yeah, anything beyond that, it's like, man, you are asking for problems down the road.
Yeah. And I wish they had done DRAID. If they had done DRAID, they wouldn't need a loaner system to start moving all their data somewhere else.
Yeah.
They did not do DRAID. We're talking RAID Z. Just because you can put that many drives.
Yeah.
The part that's amazing to me is that it got as much data on it as it has. It was built over time. It
Yeah.
was like,
As all problems are.
as all problems are. This technical debt crept up on them slowly.
Yeah.
And here they are.
Couple of super chats before we finish up here. Jay sends over $10. Thank you very much, Jay. If they're that forthcoming, speaking of the Nord 2018 incursion that I've done a lot of reading about over the years, about the exploit and how they mitigated it, it makes me more likely to pick that. Everyone gets popped eventually. Transparency about what it is what distinguishes pros. And that's exactly right. Every business gets hacked. Every financial institution gets robbed. Every point of sale system will eventually have an exploit. Every firewall gets breached. It all happens because you as the professional have to be right every single time. Attackers have to be right once.
Yep.
And that's the difference between white hat and black hat. And I will always hang my hat on a company that goes, hey, we got hit. Here's how we got hit. Here's the steps that led to us getting hit. Here's the decisions that led to us getting hit. Here's how we discovered we got hit. Here's the mitigations we put in place when we got hit to stop the breach. Here's the changes that we've made since then. Here's our rebuilt system. Here's everything that we're doing now that we should have been doing before. And we've deployed that company wide. Guess what? That's a good, healthy company. And I will always support that company. What I will not support is sweeping things under the rug, not divulging CVEs, not doing postmortems for failures. Go down the list of everything that we've seen so many major cloud providers do over the last couple of years. Those are badly run companies. Those are companies that are sweeping things under the rug because they don't want you to know how bad things are behind the scenes. That's a bad company. Stop supporting them. And then Michael sends over $4.18. Thank you.
Very specific there.
Is VR AR dead? What to do with the Quest 2? What about holodeck? No, VR AR is not dead. It's slowed down a little bit. We're not seeing the AAA releases that we once were. However, VR AR titles are still coming out. And I think there's going to be a resurgence with the Steam Frame, the new headset that's coming out within the next 3 to 6 months. Because it not only plays all of your Quest games that you can port over from Meta and Facebook and Oculus that are all Android-based games, and it's a ARM-based device, so all of those will run natively. You can sideload all of those. You don't have to authenticate, get another browser, whatever. It's also that they're uploading. Is it Vex or Fex? I can't remember which, but it's an ARM compatibility layer similar to Proton, which translates ARM calls into x86 calls, or other way around. It translates x86 calls into ARM native calls, which will allow you to install PC executables, VR or Pancake, onto your headset and play them via a controller or via anything else. You could play Cyberpunk on your frame and have it be a PC Steam native game on your ARM Linux based handheld. Holy freaking crap. That's going to be a game changer. I'm a day one purchaser of that. I don't care how well it works. I'm buying it. I want to try it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it's Fex. There we go. FEX. Yes.
FEX.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be a game changer, not only for the VR industry to like kind of reinvigorate that,
but that layer.
Yeah. But
and it goes into what we were talking about ARM earlier. NVIDIA starts making some of these ARM chips. I mean, this is all coming full circle. This is some cool stuff.
Yep. So on the GB10 on the DGX Spark, there's already some people who have taken the FEX source and made an auto installer for Steam, for the Steam PC client for x86, so you can install it in Ubuntu on an ARM-based processor with an Nvidia graphics card and start gaming. And so I was playing Cyberpunk and Oblivion Remastered and Crab Champions and a bunch of other games this week on my GB10 system, which is 10 cores of ARM and essentially an RTX 5070. And it was great. Like, really, really good. So man, I can't wait to see what's coming out officially, finally from Steam and the Frame. Like I said, day one purchase. I am so freaking excited for that. Not only for that, but look at some of the low power Android handhelds that are on the market right now that are running like Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processors on them for like $500 or $600 that are a third the cost of some premium PC handhelds that are already doing ARM emulation for PC gaming. So there was a video that came out this last week, and I think this is where we'll leave it, of a guy playing the PC version of Fallout 4 on one screen on his Ein Thor, with the Android companion app for Fallout 4 running in Android natively on the second screen, so he could tap the Pip-Boy on the bottom screen and have it affect his PC game on the top. We have peaked.
Yes.
I saw that video. I bought an Ein Thor that day. It's on the way. I can't wait to try that.
That is cool.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the lower power, lower cost things that are coming out this year, especially because PC gaming is kind of unobtainable for a lot of people right now. Like, you're looking like $1,500.
They'll probably only drive more of these small ones, like some of these Android boxes. I mean, they have some limitations to how much memory we can get available for our Android devices,
Right.
but some of these are really efficient. They're able to run some of the games. So maybe we'll see also in a resurgence in optimization of games, because games are over bloated for sure, because there's not been an incentive to unbloat them.
I've also said for a long time with the handheld industry, we're throwing way too much processing power at the idea of playing games on handhelds. And so the premium handhelds have like exploded in popularity. I'm like, you're overshooting the mark. You really are. You don't need 8 cores of Zen 5 in a handheld to play 95% of the games out there. 4 cores of Zen 2 is gonna do you just fine. 12 gigs of shared memory between both if you're gaming at 1080 or 720 or doing a minor upscale or whatever else is more than plenty for 95% of the games out there. I don't need to play Indiana Jones or Cyberpunk on my handheld and drive that kind of hardware in order to play Stardew Valley and a lot of the other popular, mobile games. I don't need it. It doesn't need to exist, and I don't need to spend $2,000 when $600 probably gets the job done. And so I'm looking forward to a lot of these lower powered devices, and especially some of the Android handhelds that are going to be able to natively now play a lot of your Steam PC library, and seeing how they handle that. Because I think that is going to shake up the industry a lot more than we realize.
Yeah. Someone brought Google Cardboard.
Yes. Google Cardboard was awesome.
Yeah. Back when they were innovating and not just killing things.
Exactly. All right. That's a show.
That's a show.
That's
awesome.
a show.
We made it.
We made it.
I'm out of whiskey anyways. So
Yeah, I'm out of beer, so I got to go probably make myself a cocktail. I think a good old fashioned to close out the night is called.
That's what I had.
There you go.
Yeah.
What was your whiskey this time?
The same, the Bullet Rye.
A Bullet Rye. Okay, yeah. Fantastic.
Yep, that's why it's my go-to. I think I didn't bring the bottle down here, but last time I had
the handle.
I had the giant bottles of it. It's cost effectiveness, I think. I don't think there's actually much of a price difference buying it in bulk either.
You get a little bit of a savings. Around here, it's about $30 for a fifth and about $50 for a handle. And a handle is 2.5 times the size of a fifth.
Okay.
So yeah, you do get a significant more volume for buying the handle.
Cool. I've not done the calculation on it. I'm just like, I just grab it.
Yeah.
I just my wife cringes a little when she sees the liquor bill. She's like, she's like, did we just spend $300 again? I'm like, yes.
Yes.
It was on sale. Some of it was. I don't know.
Right.
It's all required.
Yep. See, I do a lot of onesie twosie shopping, so I'll go in and drop like $70 or $100 at a time, instead of doing all of it at once and spending $300, because I can get away with $300 purchases. I can't get away with a single $300 purchase. That's what I figured out.
Well, it's been cold out, so it's winter, and I don't want to leave the house.
Oh,
so
there you
I leave
go.
the house. I gotta buy all the liquor, and then I can not leave the house for a very long time.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
All right.
Thank you all so much for watching episode 418 of Talking Heads here on Craft Computing. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news right here on YouTube. Especially join us next week. We have Chris from TrueNAS, IX Systems, joining us on the podcast. We're going to go over TrueNAS and ZFS myths, best practices, answer your questions live on the air. That should be a really fun show. Make sure to tune in 6 p.m. Pacific time next Wednesday. Join the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. Get access to the exclusive Discord server. Also, think about buying some merch. Head on over to craftcomputing.store. We have pint glasses, whiskey stones, stone coasters. All of them are designed and made right here in-house. When you order something, we go out into the garage and we laser cut it, and then we ship it out directly. All of this is done 100% right here. Probably 50% of the cutting is me right now. The other 50% is my sister. She's having a lot of fun on the laser, so I'm kind of letting her. But all of it's done right here. So help support the channel. Small business. It's a good time.
Yep.
Tom, anything good to the order before we go?
No, I'm good. I am. I did a deeper dive into ZFS. If you want to go check that out, feel free and debate about all the trade-offs of building your array. There's no good answer. You want it to be fast, but you want it to be storage efficient. Well, welcome to the tug of war. Have fun with that.
Pick two, right?
pick two. You can't have them all.
Fast, affordable, power efficient. Pick two. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you